I cannot believe what is going on, and I can't believe the number of people who believe this. Okay, let me tell you something. This is fake. This is fake. That's my opinion. That's what I am seeing by thinking critically. And I'll tell you something. Either these other creators that are making all this drama about this and pretending it's real and oh my gosh, he's dropping the message, all of that, they're laughing all the way to the bank, okay? That's why they're doing this. So they're playing their audience as dummies, as they're dumbing you down to their audience because they know that this is not real. So they're either in on it or they're playing the audience. One or the other, it's not good. And the other thing is, this is either going to be used in the Lifetime series because she's trying to show what these creators will run with and how they don't fact check and how they run and say things and how they're destroying her life. So if they're not in on this and they're playing into it like this, you can better believe it's going to be used to show how unscrupulous they are, that they have no moral compass, and all of that. How can anyone look at any of these text messages that are being dropped? First of all, doesn't even sound like Ryan or Gypsy. They're writing everything the media has wanted to hear. It's so fake. It's honestly like somebody that can't handle the truth, so they write their own story of what they want to happen. It's so poorly written, amateurish, and it's just, I am really, P.T. Barnum said there's a sucker born every minute or every second. Boy, I can't even believe that there are so many people that lack basic critical thinking skills. This is scary for our society. This makes me sad. How can anybody believe this crap? Okay, so let's take a look at some of the crap that's coming out, okay? It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So let's pull this out. Oh my goodness. Okay, first one. This was something, it's funny, this so-called hacker just happens the first message they drop, which I talked about this afternoon, is this one. Isn't that funny? The first message they drop is this one? That's really funny because that message has been out in circulation already. And this hacker, the first message they drop is that one, which then, right, you say, that's crazy. So then they drop this little tidbit here, which is, what is it? It's, hello, Ryan. I was wondering after court on Monday, would you be open to having a sit down face-to-face with me? There are some things I would like to say in person. We can go to a coffee shop or something away from the chaos. I can assure you my intentions are honorable. Gypsy doesn't even speak like that. I have had many months to reflect on the way things happened. And I would understand if you would say no, but I want to make the first move towards healing. Get out of here, okay? But that's just ridiculous. with anything, okay? Just with anything, it's ridiculous. So when that came out, you still have my heart, right? Then they, oh, you look so good as a brunette, missed your voice, you know I do. Just being honest, right? That was already out. So then they had to, okay, well, we better get to this. But just so it happens, right? I am not fake. 2,000 followers, I will post more. So now the hacker is helping Gypsy, right? They're on her TikTok. She lost subscribers, remember? She went from 10 million to 9.8. And now the hacker is helping her. You want more text messages? Subscribe, subscribe. Wake up, people. Baby, you know the truth is going to come out eventually. Do you still have a little bit of feelings for me? Ryan, I don't want to discuss this with you. I've told you how I felt. I do, but I can't hurt Ken like that. I felt terrible about what I did. I could say, however, I'm just not feeling it anymore for him. And then they're like, ooh, ooh, oh, this is what we wanted. This is, you know, and the people are crazy. They're crazy believing this. Believe me, this is fake. Or don't believe me. Then Miss Wants to Stay Quiet posted on her Instagram, my main TikTok account with 9.8 million followers. Gee, what, she mentioned that? Yeah. Gypsy Rose was just hacked at around 1:30 a.m. Anything posted from that account is not me. And now this person has been taking stuff off, and they just happen after they took everything down from her account, and they didn't delete it because people are off to the races. They deleted all her content. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Okay. They deleted all her content, but they just happen to put up this video, which is about that woman who they said has Munchausen's by proxy and about the feeding tube. So this hacker just happens to put up another video that bolsters up what Gypsy's saying, right? Wake up, guys. And then the hacker just takes away that other thing they had here and just comes up with these profiles now, right? Rusty Wrist and Rusty Hacker. Because, hey, you know what? When you're a hacker, you advertise you're a hacker, right? You put that right out there. I'm a hacker, guys. Come on. How much more? You go to their thing, their name is hacked. Really? Okay. Some more crap. Baby, you can do that. Just get the money off, because she's saying deleting her thing. This is because of what's happened on the Lifetime thing, so you don't lose it. It seems that's all you care about, Ryan. Well, she doesn't say it like that. She would be putting that effing in there, okay? She has no problem dropping that. This is not the way that she speaks. It's not, Gypsy. That's just crazy for you to leave all that money, all the money in there that your supporters gave you. Well, how does he know all the money's in there, right? Okay, that's number one. We can have coffee, OFC. Are you going to leave Ken anytime soon? I know you said don't rush things and let it fall into place. I want to be there when my baby is born. Okay, guys, it's not his baby. He knows it's not his baby. People are tripping on this one. They're having a good time with you. She is either working with them, working with Lifetime to show how they go to the races. This is an experiment. Lifetime is doing it. Do you understand this is not real? This is not real. I'm just giving it time and slowly coming off of social media. They're making messages that are explaining things that are being done. They're making messages that people want to hear, that people have hope to hear. They're playing, okay? They're playing you, all of these people coming off social media so it doesn't get out as quick because they already found out about the DNA test wasn't adding up. And most importantly, the month that I got pregnant, I don't need everyone in my business. And before you know it, on the T pages, this is so fake, guys, so fake. I want you to write this down that I'm telling you this is 100% fake. And that's my opinion, but it is. I know, baby, just relax. It'll be okay. You can just delete social media. I'm still in contact with one of my cellmates. Basically, it got out, and now my PO is on me about it. I can't keep doing this internet thing. It's just stressing me out. I don't want to go back to prison. Everyone is figuring everything out about my mom. Photos were leaked. If they find out I'm the one who killed her, I'm gone for good. Okay, guys, come on. Come the freak on. You can read this and think it's real. You have to be really, I don't even know. You know I won't let that happen. We can move away, far away. Can't you just hide them? You know I work and TikTok is supposed to get banned. A fake number would work to message me and just tell Ken it's your cellmates. Wouldn't that be smart, Gypsy? You know I won't let that happen. We can move far away, maybe to another country, he says. She says, I can't do that because of my probation. Parole. Ryan, I just need to delete all social media. These platforms are very powerful. Now I'm going to go to the chat. Guys, if anybody here is believing this, can you put a 1 in the chat? If anyone believes this is real, please put a 1 in the chat. And let me see where I need to get. To get onto YouTube because I'm not even on YouTube. Oh gosh, I just thought I was on mute this whole time. I was going to freak out. All right, I'm coming in now. Now I'm in the chat. Let me get to live chat. Okay. Does anybody please tell me no one believes this? Joanne, please tell me you don't believe this crap. Please. If it's a lie, Gypsy is not hacked. Her PR team invented it, inspired by my fights with Gypsy. With Gypsy, I am from Turkey. It is not real. It is not real. There is no way this is real. Come on, guys. They're playing. They're playing you. And I think other creators may possibly be in on it as well. This is an absolute joke. Oh, good, Joanne. Hello, White Angel painted black. Shoddy. This is a lie. This is such a lie. They just happen to be posting everything. Come on. Oh my gosh. This is scary. But this is scary. If you go on some forums, people freaking believe this. There's some people that believe this. Are you kidding me? I don't even understand how that's possible that some people believe this. Huh. Oh my gosh. People saying at this point the hackers had more than enough time to document every single conversation she's ever had on the account. They can delete the account all they want, but he's already got enough dirt on her. Are you kidding me, Sydney? Please, do you freaking believe this? Oh my gosh. They're freaking out. Imagine the hacker will sell the account to one of us. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They're saying, oh, I'm so happy her account was hacked. Karma's coming. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh, somebody's starting to smell a rotten fish. Really? Are you starting? Because it's stinking pretty good over here. Really? And that Panini Press, she's going to town pretending it's all real. Right? She's pretending it's all real. Making, how many videos has she made today? Now here's some more. Let's see here. Oh, they have some from Ken, right? Oh, they're pretending she had the baby or something. What the hell? Day 1 postpartum? Yeah, okay. Oh my gosh. This is insanity. This is insanity. Oh my goodness, what else is this? Oops, I'm just basically telling everyone who says I bet there are the messages. Well, Ryan can post them. Crazy, guys. How much? 500? No, you say 200. 200. Send or not? Okay, I'll send. What the hell? Someone says, makes me think this is fake, seeing the foreign language in the text box. He changed everything to his language. The Insta stuff is in English, but TikTok is Turkish. It showed Ryan's messages that she leaked a long time ago with the dates in his language, too. Listen to yourself. Jennifer, she leaked a long time ago. That means they're out. Nothing's being shown that wasn't out. Or it's made up. It's his phone setting probes. I just saw a wild breakdown if it. What? He also posted screenshots on Gypsy's TikTok stories. Oh my gosh, I'm glad to be alive to witness this. They really think this is happening. Oh my gosh, LOL, her telling Ken she hopes he's as caring as the other girl's man just says he's not great of a man. If you have to send your man these and say that, it isn't great. LOL, Ken replied with, okay, sweets. Oh, she was showing another lady in postpartum. Oh, okay. Okay. Now somebody says, I've just seen this, but has anything crazy been posted from her DMs? I don't want to doubt anything, but knowing her and Christy, what if this is all a PR stunt? Really? What if, Ashley? Man. Oh my gosh. Maybe it's a distraction because she's actually in labor. Oh, they're really going to town here, aren't they? Oh my goodness. The scammer is trying to buy Gypsy's account. This is a joke. This is embarrassing, and whoever this, some of these creators are just, oh, they're capitalizing on it. It shows that they don't care whether it's true or not. As long as they can laugh all the way to the bank, they're on board. Oh. This is laughable. This is so bad. It's just... I think the whole TikTok page being hacked is another one of her scams. You think so? But if not, can you imagine how Bree and Ken and whoever else are biting their nails right now? Karma, get out of here. This isn't, they know. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is scary, scary crap. The world is really, wow. I'm totally serious, guys. If there's so many people that believe this crap, we're in a sad state of affairs. Kind of weird. I looked at her TikTok and I got a weird text message within minutes. Anyone else? Oh, last price 200. No, don't play in. Oh yeah, now they're trying to sell it. So they started at 400. Now they're down to 200, right? These hackers are really they're just yep. 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 She's been scammed by a scammer. I wonder how that makes her feel. Where has she been scammed by a scammer, Carol? Oh my goodness, this is not our Carol. These are people that are on message boards that are just, I want to just, wow. This is nuts. This is nuts. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Finally, this is not real. It's a hacker just trying to get his hands on some money. It's not a freaking hacker. This whole thing is fake. Hackers, oh my gosh, this is not a hacker. Are you kidding me? A hacker that just happens to drop screenshots that have already been dropped? A hacker that just happens to make up the stuff that people are saying or thinking happened. Oh my gosh, listen to this one. They took this thing where she said that she killed her mother allegedly in this text that's fake. And listen to me, it's frickin' fake. It's not a confession from Gypsy Rose, you guys. Please. This is fake crap. Someone said, is this a confession from Gypsy that she unalived Dee Dee? Let's say this whole debacle is a setup, a ruse. Let's say it is. And team to drum up more interest. Why in the world was Gypsy's lawyer, her PR team, Lifetime, and Christie allow for this kind of blatant, outright confession to be posted? Because they want to show how unhinged you guys are. They're trying to show it. Oh my gosh. They're trying to show how you run with everything. I've said this 1,000 times. The people that run with the fake insiders, they run with anything. They don't fact check. You remember the water main break on the Watts Road and who ran with that? When Natasha Cooper couldn't wait to even fact check, she came up with the most stupid explanation and ran with it. Of course, money, views, clicks. They want money. They don't have a moral compass. They don't have scruples. They don't have ethics. These creators that are making a video every 5 minutes going, oh my gosh, Gypsy just admitted she did it. And laughing like hyenas. Come on, you guys. What is going on? Okay, so hi, Mighty. Thank you for the super chat, Mighty. Wasn't Gypsy faking Dee Dee's social media for like years? Not her first rodeo. Why post the second half of the message that was already released? Gypsy faked a lot of things, okay? This is not above Gypsy, but it's also not above a complete scam by Gypsy. And what is it doing? Let's see. It's getting traffic to her TikTok account, which is doing what? Oh, earning her money. Right. It's earning her money. If people are indeed sending any money to this scammer thinking they're going to buy her account, and you have to know that there are people that have approached that person and they have asked to buy her account. So that person may be collecting hundreds of dollars also for pretending that he's going to sell the account to them. That's another thing. But it's drumming up interest. It's drumming up traffic. It's pushing her up in the algorithms. It's increasing her earnings. He's trying to increase her subscribers. I'll release more messages. 2,000 more subscribers. She lost subscribers. Now it's helping her gain, right? All of these things. Come on. You look back on messages you were sharing, ridiculous. Someone is really trying to hoodwink people. I think someone is really trying to show the insanity that happens on this forum on TikTok that shows the insanity that these creators, who are, in my opinion, how can you say they're ethical when, if they don't know this is a sham, and they're going on there and they're like, ooh, look at this, oh my gosh, karma, right? They're going to town. They look completely unhinged, and they're trying to make their audience believe this. If you think those creators are ethical or moral or anything, no. They care about one thing, money, and they will sell out for money over anything. And that's what I think is trying to be done here. They're trying to show just how unethical, because it's not somebody reporting on facts. It's not someone that's checking things. It's people that are off to the races and doing whatever it takes just to collect those dollar bills. That's all it is. Okay, so they're going to look insane. And if they're in on this whole thing, same difference. Either way, they're going to look insane. Calculating, manipulative, probably as much. Are they not as much of a scammer as her? If they're sitting there making a video every hour, freaking out, saying these messages are real, and they're being dropped in order to get clicks and views, are they not just as much of a scammer and grifter? Tell me. Tell me why they're not. Convince me that they're not, when they don't fact check anything and they're running around on multiple forums, screaming at the top of their lungs, cackling like cows, when they know this stuff isn't true. You tell me how they're any better than the grifters and the scammers that are out there. She gets hacked, but she had all of her DMs deleted beforehand. Rusty effed up and said, so in the Ivory Rose Grows video, the first person C reached out to was Bree via her live stream chat. She didn't get hacked though, Brittany. They're all part of the same issue, just scumbags, UHP says. I'm sorry, but this is so dumb. It is a heart made wise, but this is what is on these forums. And you know what? It's all fake. It's all fake. Oh, you agree? Okay, Brittany, it's all freaking fake. But you know what? You don't think that Panini Press lady knows this is fake? You don't think these creators that are out there and pretending this is real, you don't think they know it's fake? Is that not a slap in the face to your audience? That shows you can't trust that creator. I don't understand. Who really, if you really want to cover true crime, or you really want to be a stand-up person, who goes and promotes something that they know is 100% fake, promotes it as fact? They don't respect their audience at all. I mean, yeah, they may get some short-term windfall of money because of this, but what's it really mean when you sell out your ethics and your credibility to pretend something as stupid as this is real? What does that show? Heck, What was last week? Bree's partner was sleeping with that tatted face boy. I was praying that didn't get around. That was just for the stupid A show. Bree blocked me a long time ago, Brittany, because I went to ask a simple question. I was blocked a long time ago because that's another channel that doesn't want the truth. So I wouldn't know. But I've been through many cases. Just like I said, it's just like Summer Wells, okay? People decided that Summer Wells, and they disgustingly called Summer Wells a cash cow. And they didn't want to drop the case. So they just started inventing stuff, okay? That had nothing to do with finding Summer Wells. And people used to come here and say, how come you're not covering Summer Wells? I said, I'll cover Summer Wells when there's something to cover. But there's nothing to cover. All you're doing is making up fake stuff. That's all they're doing. And it's drama. It's become the new drama community. There's been a few true crime cases like that have quickly evolved into the drama community. And then all these drama creators latched onto it. Just like the other little boy, Sebastian Rogers. That was another one. Okay, what were they doing to find Sebastian Rogers? No, they were doing things that benefited them. And that's the sad part. And it's the same thing like with the Watts case. People said, oh, I don't want the Watts case to end. What do you mean you don't want it to end? And then you had those people that came on here and they said, I have an insider, Larry. Remember Larry? I have an insider in the DA's office. And there's going to be an arrest in 2 weeks. And I need this money because I'm going to erect a billboard. So can you give me these thousands of dollars? And he played right into the audience that wanted so badly with, there's a lot of emotion. Here's the thing of it, okay? The people that are so invested in Gypsy, there's a lot of emotion, but I'm talking about the people that are obsessed with Gypsy. I mean, like, what they say is getting justice and doing this. Do I think she got a plea deal that's completely unfair? I do. Do I think it shouldn't have been done? Yes. Do I think Nick should be in a mental institution? Do I think he was taken advantage of? Do I think he didn't get a fair trial? Yes. But the thing is, there's other people that have like these ideas planted in them that are not real. Like just like how when they said she was going to go away, remember? She violated parole. That was how this all started. These creators started with one lie after another, and even when they lie and get caught, even when they lie and say, she's with Ryan right now, and then a photo comes out and shows that they're wrong, what they do is they ignore it because they want so much to believe the storyline that these creators are putting out there, knowing it's fake, but just because they want to hear it. And that will catch up with them, just as it did with the ones that did it in the Watts case. And, I was talking to somebody today, and they said, oh, I remember, Carolyn, when they were doing that. And I said, well, you know what? You may not believe this, but probably maybe a year ago, there were several new Watts case channels that were started using the same tactic to hook the same people over the same misinformation. Okay? And these same people that want so badly to believe something that is not true flock to those channels and give their money to those channels, and those channels capitalize on it, and it's all fake. It's fiction. And that's what this is. These people want so bad to hear that she's not pregnant, she's back with Ryan, she left Ken, They want so badly to hear that, they'll believe the lies. They'll give the money for the lies. They'll support the lies. But sooner or later, it will backfire, because when you treat people like that, you don't value your audience. You don't care about your audience. You don't want to bring the best to your audience. You don't want to bring the facts. You want to be something other than true crime, right? You want to be fake crime, a fake crime channel. Well, who the hell needs that? Go write fiction. Go write short stories. But when you do that and you lie about the facts of a case, like let's take the Watts case, that's disrespectful to the victims' families. That's incredibly disrespectful. And morally wrong. But there's a lot of people that don't have a problem with that if it's bringing in money for themselves. So they'll go on and on every single night, even when there's nothing new. They have stuff to talk about when there's not one new thing, right? Isn't that funny? Because it's all fabricated. And when they need somebody, they'll get a fake insider. You just got booted out of a few lives today because I said this whole hacking saga was fake. Yeah, Jacqueline, I actually thought I got booted out of a message board that I'd been in because it kept telling me to join again when I know I was already a member of it, and it did it twice to me. So it's very interesting, isn't it? People don't want to hear the truth. They can't handle the truth. How can anyone believe that her account was hacked when the hacker said on the live stream that the DMs were gone? Next tip. Gypsy supposedly reached out to Bree's TikTok live stream chat to mention it. Oh, BS. BS. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, now, I don't get it. How, and it's just, anytime I go back in a group, they're posting more and more crap about this. This is like, it's just not ending. And these creators, every minute, they're on a new video. Okay, they're thinking that now Gypsy confessed. Oh, look at this person. Let's just think positive and maybe it will be true. They want so bad to believe this. So bad. How are people getting their hands on the screenshots? I think a hacker has hacked her page and is posting them. Oh, crazy. Then somebody said it's all a setup for Lifetime. It's all BS. Good. Because that's what they want to believe, says another one. Okay, and this other one, this CT person, she just can't get enough of it either. She just loves one video after another, laughing all the way to the bank. They are fake accounts. Okay. Oh, someone says, I don't trust this. Oh boy, really? Crazy. And the Panini lady, press lady, she's got another video every 2 seconds. If y'all believe this is real, you will believe anything. Fine. Y'all, it's not real. That's what they're saying, thankfully. I want to say setup, but I also want to say this is real. Let's see. But also, why wouldn't she just text Ryan off her phone instead of on TikTok? Like that, it to me is weird. Maybe she did this all and made it happen this way to disappear. Well, if the hacker guys said the DMs are deleted, how does he have the DMs? Oh my goodness. She's mad because Ken figured it out. Oh my gosh. Who knows? It could be a real leak. We all want it to be true, but it's all fake. Who knows? The entire Ken storyline may have just been for Lifetime. But if Lifetime is cutting ties... Guys, this is another lie I've heard. Lifetime canceled her show. Lifetime did not cancel her show. Okay? She was never taken on for a third season. She was only taken for a second season. Now, that doesn't mean that at the end of this season, depending on how the show is received, that Lifetime can't go ahead and ask her if she'll do a third season. But what it means is that right now, all she has is the second season. There's no contract beyond that. And I've heard multiple people say, and these other creators make a whole live, that Gypsy got canceled by Lifetime. No! Gypsy Rose said when she first started filming, this was going to be the second season and the last season. But creators want to just make headlines that are lies because their audiences mean nothing to them. Okay. It's just scary. It's really scary. It's really, really scary. It makes me sad. It really does. That more people are not just right on this, critically thinking that this is not real. This is not real. Unbelievable. Oh, they're all on right now because they've got to get in on the last little bit of it before everybody really comes, puts two and two together and starts believing that it does add up to 4. And that this is not real. And you think they'll be a little disgruntled with the people that purposely misled them for money? No, because they want to keep believing lies. It's absolutely disgusting. It is. It's absolutely disgusting. And all she's doing is earning more money off this. That's all that she's doing. And that's all that this all led up to, and these people and that are going into these lives and doing all of that stuff when they're, let's go talk to the hacker. While they're trying to talk to this supposed hacker, they're on her channel. They're giving her view time, they're giving her views, and it's putting money in the bank for Gypsy. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic? Crazy. I knew it was fake because it's only 2 days ago Gypsy deleted her YouTube. But Jacqueline, I doubt very highly that she deleted her YouTube. She could have deactivated it. I don't think she deleted it. She already said on that podcast that it was a mistake that she deleted her Instagram. I think she knows the difference, and she knows how to deactivate and activate, and she does it to get people talking about her. It's very calculated. She's an extremely seasoned manipulator and scammer. We know it. We've seen her. Seen her in her interrogation. And guess what, guys? What's today? Isn't today the anniversary of when Gypsy got released? And doesn't she have people going around? She has TMZ giving her promotion, and I'm sure paying her. So she's getting bank from TMZ. She's getting promotion from TMZ. I'm sure People Magazine is right there too. So it's all there. This is the anniversary. She wants that press. That's what's going to sell books. Okay? Because believe it or not, you think maybe that everybody's heard about this? A lot of people that are not on YouTube. And TMZ puts that out, and someone says, who's Gypsy Rose? Oh, wait a minute. She's got a book out. Boom, let me buy it. Boom, let me buy it. You know? All of that. She wants the interest in her to keep coming. And those other creators, they're intentionally misleading because they're doing the same thing. Is that not scamming? Tell me if you think that's not scamming. That's not grifting. When you know something's not true and yet you keep making a video every hour and telling people this stuff is true. And acting like a complete fool on the video. Karma, karma. No, that's not what it is. It's called a scam. And they're just as bad. In my opinion, they're just as bad. So, more stuff that isn't true. I don't know if you've heard anything about the Blake Lively stuff. Have you? Has anybody heard about it? Because this is more insanity that goes around on these forums and everywhere. Right? Yeah, it's for money. It's for money, dollar bills. That's the most important thing. Their audience is just a dollar bill to them, that's all. They don't know about their audience. They don't connect with their audience. So, let me get this and show you this. Oh wait, this is that other case that we went through, the Grayson one. This is another good one that we went through, and this was about that those two influencers, and the one tried to have the 3 people killed. Yeah, that's that one. But hold on, let me get the one I'm talking about. That was the other case we were going through. Hang on. Okay. Motion. Doo, doo, doo. Okay, so we've got to be up here because I'm just trying to go to my files here and get this. Here we are, Blake Lively. Sorry about that, that's the wrong case. Here's the case. But that other case is very, very interesting. All right, so this is about, smear campaigns, and what happens here on, we've seen it on YouTube, but this maybe to a degree that people haven't or are not aware. So this is attorneys for Blake Lively versus Wayfarer Studios LLC, a California limited liability, Justin Baldoni, an individual, Jamie Heath, an individual, Steve Sarowitz, an individual, Melissa Nathan, an individual, the agency group PR LLC. Now, please pay close attention to this. Agency group PR LLC. Because what does that group do? When do you need the agency group PR LLC? Jennifer Abel, an individual, RWA Communications LLC, a California limited liability company. Jed Wallace, an individual, Street Relations, another company, right? What do all these little companies do here? So on January 4th of 2024, prior to resuming filming It Ends With Us, who's watched? I haven't watched It Ends With Us. I believe my daughter watches this. Following guild strikes, an all-hands meeting was convened to address the hostile work environment that had nearly derailed production of the film. The attendees of the meeting included Justin Baldoni, who is the co-chairman and co-founder of Wayfarer Studios, the owner of the film, as well as the director, executive producer, and actor in the lead role of Ryle Kincaid. So Justin Baldoni, it's like, I'm not just the hair club president, I'm also a member, right? He's not just an actor in the lead role. No, he's the owner of the film, as well as the director and the executive producer. Jamie Heath, the chief executive, officer of Wayfarer, and producer of the film. Ange Giannetti, the film's representative for its distributor Sony Pictures Entertainment. Alex Sachs, a producer of the film. Todd Black, a producer on the film. Blake Lively, who played the role of Lily Bloom in the film. Ms. Lively also had the agreed-upon right to have a representative present. She chose her husband. She's married to Ryan Reynolds, right? Ms. Lively also had the agreed-upon representative, chose her husband, given that the meeting was about repeated sexual harassment and other disturbing behavior by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. As discussed in detail below, Ms. Lively was forced to address concerns about Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's misconduct with them directly, and began doing so months before filming began. The concerns she raised were not only for herself, but for the other female cast and crew, some of whom had also spoken up. The January 4th meeting occurred only after Wayfarer had rebuffed Ms. Lively's efforts repeatedly. During the January 4th meeting, the parties discussed in detail the inappropriate conduct that Ms. Lively, her employees, and other cast and crew experienced at the hands of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. After the list below was reviewed and discussed in its entirety, all parties present agreed that the outlined conduct would stop, right? 1. No more showing nude videos or images of women, including the producer's wife. What? To Brooke Lively or her employees. No more mention of Mr. Baldoni's or Mr. Heath's previous pornography addiction or Brooke Lively's lack of pornography consumption to Brooke Lively or to other crew members. No more discussions to Brooke Lively and or her employees about personal experiences with sex, including as it relates to spouses or others. No more mention to Brooke Lively or her employees of personal times that physical consent was not given in sexual acts as either the abuser or the abused. No more descriptions of their own genitalia to Brooke Lively. No more jokes or disparaging comments to be made to Brooke Lively and or her employees about HR complaints Wayfarer has already received on set or about missing the HR meeting. No more inquiries by Mr. Baldoni to Brooke Lively's trainer without her knowledge or consent to disclose her weight. This is going to be very, very telling. He was deliberately trying to body and weight shame her by finding out her weight through her trainer. Yeah, that's not all. Okay. No more mention by Mr. Baldoni of him speaking to Blake Lively's dead father. No more pressing by Mr. Baldoni for Blake Lively to discuss her religious beliefs or unsolicited sharing of his. If Blake, and if I'm sorry if I was saying Brooke, okay? It's Blake. If Blake Lively and or her infant is exposed to COVID again, Blake Lively must be provided with immediate notice as soon as Wayfarer or any other producers become aware of such exposure without her needing to uncover days later herself. An intimacy coordinator must be present at all times when Blake Lively is on set in scenes with Mr. Baldoni. No more personal physical touching of or sexual comments by Mr. Baldoni or Mr. Heath to be tolerated by Blake and or any of her employees as well as any female cast or crew without their express consent. No more improvising of kissing. All intimate touch must be choreographed in advance with Blake Lively and an intimacy coordinator. No biting or sucking of lip without Blake Lively's consent. And all intimate on-camera touch and conversations must be in character, not spoken from Mr. Baldoni to Blake Lively personally. Blake Lively to have a representative on set at all times and with a monitor during scenes involving nudity, sexual activity, or violence with Mr. Baldoni. All actors participating with Blake Lively in intimate scenes involving her being in any state of nudity or simulated nudity must be classified as active working actors, not friends of the director or producers, and must be pre-approved by Blake Lively. No more filming of any Blake Lively nudity without a fully executed SAG-compliant nudity rider in place. Any such footage already shot without this rider in place and in direct violation of SAG requirements may not be used without Blake Lively and her legal representative's prior written consent. Any scene by Blake Lively or another performer depicting the character of Lily that involves nudity or simulated sex must be conducted strictly in accordance with the above referenced nudity rider and must adhere to the Blake Lively approved script. An intimacy coordinator must be on set for all scenes involving nudity and or simulated sex and must have a monitor to ensure compliance. No monitors to be viewed or accessible on set or remotely during closed set scenes except by Brooke Lively. Sorry, I keep calling her Brooke Lively. I'm so sorry. I have a mind block on that now. Blake. You just have to know it's Blake. It's not Brooke. I don't know why I keep making that mistake there. I'm very, very sorry. Blake Lively. Approved essential crew and personnel. No more entering, attempting to enter, interrupting, pressuring, or asking Blake Lively to enter her trailer or the makeup trailer by Mr. Heath or Mr. Baldoni while she is nude for any reason. No more private, multi-hour meetings in Blake Lively's trailer with Mr. Baldoni crying, with no outside Blake Lively appointed representative to monitor. No more pressing by Mr. Baldoni to sage any of Blake Lively's employees. Sage them, like with sage, right? Producer Alex Sachs to be given standard rights, inclusion, and authority per her job description and as represented to Blake Lively when signing on. Sony must have an active daily role in overseeing physical production for the remainder of the film to monitor safety for cast and crew, schedule logistics, problem solving, and creative engagement of an experienced producer to supervise the safety of the cast, crew, schedule, logistics, problem solving, and creative for the remainder of the shoot. Examples: Todd Lieberman, Elizabeth Cantillon, Miri Yoon, and Lynette Howell. Engagement of a Blake Lively approved A-list stunt double to perform Lily in scenes with Mr. Baldoni involving R and or violence. Blake Lively to perform only close-up work or work from a Blake Lively pre-approved shot list in scenes with Mr. Baldoni involving sexual violence. No more adding of sex scenes, oral sex, or on-camera climaxing by Blake Lively outside of the scope of the script. Blake Lively approved when signing on to the project. No more asking or pressuring Blake Lively to cross physical picket lines. No more retaliatory or abusive behavior to Blake Lively for raising concerns or requesting safeguards. An in-person meeting before production resumes with Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, Ms. Sachs, the Sony representative, the new producer, Blake Lively, and Blake Lively's spouse, Ryan Reynolds, to confirm and approve a plan for implementation of the above that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Blake Lively, her employees, and all the cast and crew moving forward. This meeting was an essential step in a process the parties have agreed to several months before to allow the cast and crew to safely resume production of the film. In mid-November 2023, the parties had agreed in writing to implement a list of protections enumerated in a contract entitled Protections for Return to Production, attached hereto as Exhibit A, which included 17 provisions designed to require Wayfarer to cease the on-set behavior of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. One of those provisions required an all-hands meeting to confirm and approve a plan for the implementation of certain protections that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Ms. Lively, her employees, all cast and crew moving forward. After receiving the document, Wayfarer responded that Wayfarer, Sony, and production respectfully acknowledge that Ms. Lively has concerns regarding safety, professionalism, and workplace culture. Although our perspective differs in many aspects, ensuring a safe environment for all is paramount, irrespective of differing viewpoints. Regarding your outline request, we find most of them not only reasonable, but also essential for the benefit of all parties involved. At the end of the January 4th meeting, having discussed at length the details of concerns that had been expressed by Miss Lively and others, the parties agreed to implement and follow the protections for return to production to ensure that the film could be completed, marketed, and released safely and successfully. And it was. Production of the film resumed on January 5th and concluded on February 9th, 2024. The film has been a resounding success. Leading up to and in connection with the release of the film during the summer of 2024, Ms. Lively and fellow cast members promoted the film in accordance with the marketing plan created and delivered by the film's distributor, Sony, which is summarized in the talking points attached hereto as Exhibit C. Ms. Lively and other cast members were under a contractual obligation to render promotional services in accordance with the marketing plan. Hold on 1 second, I want to just see. What was that? Okay, my chat is there. My chat is moving now. Okay. It's people coming together to protect. What is this? I don't know what's going on here. I just want to see if something's up here. The frightening thing, UHP says, in all this is because of social media, we won't get a front row seat. Because of social media, wants to get a front row seat to just how many crazy people are running around. At this point, take AI over real people 10 times out. I don't look back, that's just scary. What is a limited liability company, Joanne? It protects their personal assets. Okay. You okay? Painted black? Everything all right here? Okay. So just stay with me on this, all right? I'm telling you, you're going to want to learn about this if you haven't already. So, because this also goes back to Johnny Depp. Okay? And you might not... I was team Johnny Depp. But we may have to face some reality here of what really happened. Okay? So we're over here that Ms. Lively under the cast under obligation, blah, blah, blah. The marketing plan directed the cast to focus more on Lily's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about domestic violence, and to avoid talking about this film that makes it feel sad or heavy. It's a story of hope. In the days leading up to the film's release, Mr. Baldoni abruptly pivoted away from the film's marketing plan and the types of publicity activities in which he had previously participated. What the public did not know was that Mr. Baldoni and his team did so in an effort to explain why many of the film's cast and crew had unfollowed Mr. Baldoni on social media and were not appearing with him in public. To that end, he and his team used domestic violence survivor content to protect his public image, as described in further detail below. What the public also did not know was that this was the beginning of this is important now, of a multi-tiered plan that Mr. Baldoni and his team described as social manipulation designed to destroy Ms. Lively's reputation. The plan was backed by virtually unlimited resources. Wayfarer's co-founder, co-chairman, and leading financier is a multi-billionaire, Steve Sarowitz, who divulged at the film's New York premiere on August 6, 2024, that he was prepared to spend $100 million to ruin the lives of Ms. Lively and her family. With that backing, Mr. Baldoni and his Wayfarer associates embarked on a sophisticated press and digital plan in retaliation for Ms. Lively exercising her legally protected right to speak up about their misconduct on the set, with the additional objective of intimidating her and anyone else from revealing in public what actually occurred. Okay? You understand what they're doing now? To cover up their behavior, to discredit Blake Lively and anything she says, they had the backing from this Steve Sarowitz, who said at the premiere that he was prepared to invest $100 million in order to ruin the lives of Blake Lively and her family, and to make it so that anybody that wants to stand up, defend her, say anything, is going to be so scared that it's going to happen to them and their family that they're not going to. On July 31st, 2024, following the recommendation of their publicist, Jennifer Abel, Wayfarer, and Mr. Baldoni, retained a crisis communications specialist named Melissa Nathan, and her company, the agency PR LLC, referred to as TAG. Ms. Nathan delivered a proposal to Mr. Baldoni, which included a website to discuss a full Reddit, full social account takedowns, full social crisis team on hand for anything, engage with audiences in the right way, start threads of theories, discuss if this is the way to be fully 100% protected. Ms. Nathan also proposed the creation of social fan engagement to go back and forth with any negative accounts, helping to change the narrative and stay on track. Per Ms. Nathan, all of this will be most importantly untraceable. Okay? This is the sick stuff. This is why I want you to see the Gypsy stuff. This is why you have to understand the amount of manipulation, and where there's money, they can buy this. They buy these people, and they can be the most horrible people, and they want to destroy the life of somebody else, so they'll throw some money at it, and there are companies that will go and do this tremendous smear campaign. Okay? Untraceable. So here we go. They're going to start threads of theories. Do you understand what that is? Do you understand what full Reddit means? It means they're going to hit those Reddit message boards. They're going to hit those Reddit message boards. They're going to hit social media. Is Blake Lively canceled? They're going to create this narrative that is designed to destroy her, not only her, and her family. Think that isn't happening on YouTube? Think again. Okay. As Ms. Abel described it, the plan was to engage in social media mitigation and proactive fan posting to counter the negative as well as social manipulation. The plan went well beyond standard crisis PR. What Ms. Nathan proposed included a practice known as astroturfing, which has been defined as the practice of publishing opinions or comments on the internet, in the media, etc., that appear to come from ordinary members of the public, but actually come from a particular company or a political group. Wasn't there, follow me on this one, wasn't there a long time ago, a few years ago, there was a forum, I believe it was for animators or writers, I mean just on YouTube or something, and the one girl was really, really, really popular on YouTube. They didn't even have TikTok back then. And there was like a forum connected with it, but it wasn't Reddit. Okay, I don't remember the name of the forum that was connected with it. But as part of being on that forum, I don't know if it was an unwritten rule or whatever, but let's say it was found out. We're just going to call this creator XYZ, right? Creator XYZ was huge, had a huge following. She used to do stories, like she would draw a picture and tell the story. Some of you probably know this because this was really big on YouTube. They made multiple videos like, is she gone? Is she canceled? You know, all of that stuff. Well, anyway, she went onto a forum, and apparently they traced back an account that was hers, that was promoting her videos on there as if she was someone else. Now that was a no-no. It seems tame, right, compared to what's going on here, right? But that blew up on YouTube. I know some of you have to know who this is, okay? I forget what community this was. It was something about drawing, graphics. Anyway, the internet, YouTube went nuts, and they said she could never come back from this. She's completely canceled. It was over the top. But you look at something like that, and now you look at this. Whatever was done there, that wasn't done with money. That was done with one person and the backlash. But here, this is being done with tremendous amounts of money to destroy someone. To destroy someone. Why? Because they have legitimate problems with the way they were treated, and this is their way of their crisis management. Scary. This is scary stuff. And it's going to make you really put your critical thinking to work and to think about people you hear these negative things about and wonder if there's an ulterior motive. Right? Okay, astroturfing. So they seem to come from ordinary members of the public, but actually they come from a particular company or a political group. On August 2nd of 2024, TAG circulated a scenario planning document to Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and others, which described preparations and strategy should Ms. Lively and her team make her grievances public. The scenario planning document, which is attached as Exhibit D, to get ahead of this narrative. Ms. Nathan's plan proposed strategies to advance misleading counter-narratives, including pushing Nathan's narrative that Ms. Lively had less than favorable reputation. Wow. Proposing to explore planting stories about the weaponization of feminism and misleadingly blaming Ms. Lively for production members' job losses. So here is a text message here. This is Justin Baldoni saying, "Morning, not in love with the document they sent. Not sure I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call." This is the first time I've personally gone through scenario planning with them, so I think let's let them discuss the thinking behind the document and the actual process and protocol of how they implement these things. That's the most important part of this, is how quickly they can shut things down and place stories in your favor. Be honest on this call, and let's give real feedback to each point. Justin says, yeah, just feels very much like there is not much defense, and also them feeling strong like she's going to do something just a bit concerning what everyone had originally thought. Hold on, I have to make this a little smaller here. Okay. Initially, Mr. Baldoni expressed concerns that TAG's written plan was insufficiently aggressive to protect him. Writing to Mr. Heath and Ms. Abel, he said that he was not in love with the document they sent. And this is exactly what I just read to you, okay? Later that day, Ms. Abel and Ms. Nathan exchanged the following text messages expressing that Mr. Baldoni wants to feel like Ms. Lively can be buried. Ms. Abel and Ms. Nathan agreed that of course they would do just that, but could not say so in writing. Can't say so in writing, you do say. Right? You don't say, absolutely, you don't say, all right? Interesting. We can't write it down to him. We can't write, "We will destroy her." Imagine if a document saying all the things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. Imagine that. Maybe you shouldn't be doing any of this crap, right? From Jennifer Abel, owner, to Melissa Nathan, you can of course do that, but I do think he needs to know. I'm going to confidentially send you something he's texting me and Janie on the side, just to arm you before the call. I think you guys need to be tough and show the strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios. He wants to feel like she can be buried. Nice. Okay. Of course, said Melissa to Jennifer, but you know, when we send over documents, we can't send over the work we will or could do, because that could get us in a lot of trouble. You don't say, Melissa. And again, from Melissa to Jennifer, we can't write it down to him. We can't write, "We will destroy her." We will go to this, we will go do this, we will do this, we will do this. Again, from Melissa, he has to look at it as an information document for us to be armed with. That's all. Imagine if a document saying all those things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. Ms. Nathan followed this by assuring Miss Abel, "You know, we can bury anyone, but I can't write that to him." Again, from Melissa to Jennifer, right? That's that thing again. We can bury anyone. A few days later, on August 5th of 2024, Mr. Baldoni set the narrative for the social media campaign, sending Ms. Abel a screenshot of a thread on X that had accused another female celebrity of bullying women. Mr. Baldoni stated, "This is what we would need." So over here, he sends that here's somebody's history of bullying many women throughout the years. This is what we would need. She says, yes, I literally just spoke to Melissa about this on the break, about what we discussed last night for social and digital. Focus on Reddit, TikTok, Instagram. Ms. Abel responded that she had just spoken to Melissa about this, about what we discussed last night for social digital. Ms. Abel added, focus on Reddit, TikTok, Instagram, with reassurance that Ms. Lively would be destroyed and buried. Wayfarer and Mr. Baldoni directed Ms. Nathan and her team to actively engage in their retaliatory social manipulation campaign. In the weeks and months that followed, with the direction and approval of Wayfarer and Mr. Baldoni, the team engaged in a sophisticated, coordinated, and well-financed retaliation plan. The retaliation campaign relied on more than just publicists and crisis managers spinning stories. They also retained subcontractors, including a Texas-based contractor named Jeb Wallace, who weaponized a digital army around the country from New York to Los Angeles to create seed and promote content that appeared to be authentic on social media platforms and internet chat forums. The Baldoni Wayfarer team would then feed pieces of this manufactured content to unwitting reporters, making content go viral in order to influence the public opinion and thereby cause an organic pile-on, a dog pile, right against Miss Lively. To safeguard against the risk of Ms. Lively ever revealing the truth about Mr. Baldoni, the Baldoni Wayfarer team created, planted, amplified, and boosted content designed to eviscerate Ms. Lively's credibility. They engaged in the same techniques to bolster Mr. Baldoni's credibility and suppress any negative content about him. On August 10th, the day after the release of the film, Ms. Nathan's team reported that they had just started to see shift on social, due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative against Miss Lively. So here's from Jennifer. Hi, team. So far, extremely limited pickup on Daily Mail or Page 6. We'll continue to keep an eye out and send pieces as needed, but so far, it's been steady coverage on pure speculation. We've also started to see a shift on social, due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. And we'll continue to send links and screenshots, but wanted to send an update in the meantime. The same day, Ms. Nathan noted that as part of this shift, the majority of socials are so pro-Justin that I don't even agree with half of them, LOL. Melissa to Jennifer, the majority of that's what she says again. Okay. Ms. Nathan then bragged to Ms. Abel that Mr. Baldoni doesn't realize how lucky he is right now, by which they were referring to their successful efforts to shut down stories that would have revealed how Mr. Baldoni's behavior, including sexual connotations on set, had made cast and crew beyond Ms. Lively uncomfortable. So these very women are working to mislead and to protect a man who was abusive. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? From Melissa to Jennifer, he doesn't realize how lucky he is, that one. And then from Melissa to Jennifer, the whispering in the ear the sexual connotations like Jesus, I'm not going to say that, and other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there is just so much. Less than 1 week later, they also bragged about how they shut down stories regarding HR complaints. On August 15th, Melissa Nathan remarked that this went so well, it was genius. So, okay, we have the 4 majors standing down on HR complaint. Jen, this went so well. I'm effing dying. I have to call you later in a bit and let you know how this went. It was genius. So, okay, we have the 4 majors standing down. Okay. On August 16th, Ms. Nathan circulated a Daily Mail article entitled String of Hard-to-Watch Videos That Have Surfaced Following Tone-Deaf Question and Answer to Promote It Ends With Us Could Tarnish 36-year-old star's golden Hollywood image for good. To which Miss Abel responded, wow, you really outdid yourself with this piece. And Ms. Nathan replied, that's why you hired me. I'm the best. You know, I have to say to you guys, this is some sick, sick stuff. But it happens.
Building your online business?
Sorry, I had to move my thing. It happens without these PR teams.
Go to Wix.com and set up your store.
There are sick people that try to spin a narrative to make something look like it happened that didn't happen. And I told you guys when I showed you guys a while ago of what was done to my deceased son to make a certain thing appear that happened. And they went and they created profiles where they said they were friends with my daughter. I showed you this, right? And that my daughter said XYZ to them. And those profiles were all fake. Wasn't true. My daughter didn't know any of those people. But they went in there and they posted on that Hell to the No channel to try to create a narrative of how my son died. And if you don't think that's sick, twisted, disgusting, then I don't know what. But that's what they did on their own level. Okay? And really, shame on you if you believe these narratives that they spin over and over and over again because they know nothing. Nothing. And it's born out of wanting to ruin someone, to drag their family in, to blackmail their family. My entire family was put up on that channel. Pictures of my entire family. It's disgusting. And if you sit by and you condone it and you endorse it and you engage with it, you have just as much culpability in it because you're endorsing it. So look what happened here on a big level. It's happening every single day. On August 16th, they talked about this. They oh wow, that's why you hired me. These ladies are as sick as the people that do it on this forum, except they're getting paid big bucks to do it, and they're relishing in it. They're relishing in knowing, think about the moral character of these women. They think this is okay. They can put their head on their pillow at night and go to sleep knowing that they are intentionally destroying someone with lies. How does that's disgusting. And this was the article. Is Blake Lively set to be canceled? String of hard-to-watch videos that have surfaced following tone-deaf Q&A to promote It Ends With Us could tarnish the 36-year-old star's golden Hollywood image for good. Awkward encounters between Lively, who shares 4 children with Ryan Reynolds, and journalists in recent years are being shared across social media. Right? Bring her kids into it. Justin Baldoni addresses friction. So, you really outdid yourself. Oh yeah, pat yourselves on the back, ladies. You're great. Trying to destroy someone with your lies. As their own words reveal, the purpose of this social manipulation plan was twofold. It aimed to both conceal the pattern of harassment and other misconduct by Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfarer, and retaliate against Ms. Lively by battering her image, harming her business, and causing her and her family severe emotional harm. You want to know what's a precedent-setting case? This case is precedent-setting. This case is putting out there what happens every day. It's going to blow the whistle on these type of PR firms, and it's going to blow the whistle on anybody that does this on any kind of a level or endorses this. This is a long time coming. By battering her image, harming her business, and causing her and her family severe emotional harm. And hopefully, Miss Lively will embrace others that this was done to, and help them, and help people that don't have the benefit of the millions of dollars that they have, because that money helped them get things and subpoena things that were needed, that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this is absolutely precedent setting. Millions of people, including many reporters and influencers who saw these planted stories, social media posts, and other online content, had no idea they were unwitting consumers of a crisis PR, astroturfing, and digital retaliation campaign created and funded by Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer to hurt Ms. Lively. That is precisely the goal of an astroturfing campaign, to light the fire and continue to stoke conversations secretly, blurring the line between authentic and manufactured content and creating viral public takedowns. As laid out in this campaign, the Baldoni-Wayfarer-led public attack of Ms. Lively was the intended result of a carefully crafted, coordinated, and resourced retaliatory scheme to silence her and others from speaking out about the hostile environment that Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath created. As such, it was not only unconscionable and a breach of contract, but also illegal under both state and federal law. Ms. Lively brings the action to hold Wayfarer and its leaders, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, Mr. Sarowitz, accountable for the ongoing retaliation, threats, and harm that they have caused Ms. Lively, other cast and crew, and all of their families. No one deserves this. Okay? When this is not true, and someone goes on and makes these things that are not true, for whatever reason they have to try to destroy someone, right? Saying someone is pushing puppies down a hill, someone is maiming animals, whatever it is. Someone's husband killed someone with a car. Right? Someone's lying about how their son died. All of this stuff, All of this stuff that is just designed to destroy someone. I love it. I love this case because she had the resources and the financial backing she needed to blow this up. Factual background. Justin Baldoni and James Heath of Wayfarer engage in inappropriate and unwelcome behavior towards Miss Lively and others on the set of It Ends With Us. Mr. Baldoni launched Wayfarer Studios along with Mr. Sarowitz in 2020. Mr. Heath serves as Wayfarer's chief executive officer. Mr. Sarowitz is a leading financier of Wayfarer, and Mr. Heath, and Mr. Baldoni are all close personal friends under the Wayfarer banner. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath have many platforms, including the Man Enough podcast, which they co-host. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath have positioned Wayfarer as a male feminist platform that explores gender roles, dismantles toxic masculinity, and creates a safer and judgment-free society for women, right? Mr. Baldoni serves not only as the co-founder and co-chairman of the studio that financed and ran production of It Ends With Us, he also served as director, executive producer, and co-lead actor, playing the role of Ryle Kincaid. As studio head and director, all actors, crew, and staff on the film, including Miss Lively, answered to Mr. Baldoni. In his words, he was the leader who sat at the top of this totem pole. While Sony was the distributor releasing the film, Wayfarer was responsible for the production, and Wayfarer was led by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. Production of the film began in early May 2023 and lasted until it was suspended in mid-June 2023 due to the Writers Guild of America strike. During that time, Ms. Lively and other cast and crew experienced invasive, unwelcome, unprofessional, and sexually inappropriate behavior by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. Because Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath held all leadership positions on the production, they answered to no one, and they brushed off or ignored the concerns Ms. Lively and others expressed. Mr. Baldoni ignored well-established industry protocols in filming intimate scenes and exploited the lack of controls on set to behave inappropriately. Wayfarer failed to adhere to guild rules, as well as Ms. Lively's contract and standard industry safety protocols with respect to nudity and intimate scenes, which the Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists acknowledge place performers in uniquely vulnerable situations. Such safeguards ignored by Wayfarer include providing performers with appropriate notice of nudity and simulated sex, and ensuring that the consent is given free of pressure or coercion. Signed nudity risers are in place, spelling out the parameters of nudity or simulated sex scenes. Safe and secure working conditions that are not detrimental to a performer's health, safety, morals, and career, and the use of intimacy coordinators to observe intimacy scenes. Without these protections in place, Mr. Baldoni improvised physical intimacy that had not been rehearsed, choreographed, or discussed with Miss Lively, with no intimacy coordinator involved. For instance, Mr. Baldoni discreetly bit and sucked on Miss Lively's lower lip during a scene in which he improvised numerous kisses on each take. Mr. Baldoni insisted on shooting the full scene over and over again, well beyond what would have been required on an ordinary set and without advance notice or consent. On another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Ms. Lively out of character as himself. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck And he said, "It smells so good." None of this was remotely in character or based on any dialogue in the script, and nothing needed to be said because, again, there was no sound. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Ms. Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles. When Miss Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, "I'm not even attracted to you." Mr. Baldoni inserted improvised, gratuitous sexual content and/or scenes involving nudity into the film, including for an underage character in highly unsettling ways. After Miss Lively signed onto the movie based on a draft of the script, Mr. Baldoni, without Miss Lively's knowledge or consent, personally added graphic content, including a scene in which Miss Lively was to orgasm on camera. When Ms. Lively objected to these additions, Mr. Baldoni insisted he had added them because he was making the film through the female gaze. Although he agreed to remove the scenes, he made a last-ditch attempt to keep one in which the couple orgasmed together on their wedding night, which he said was important to him because he and his partner climaxed simultaneously during intercourse. Mr. Baldoni then intrusively asked Ms. Lively whether she and her husband climaxed simultaneously during intercourse, which Miss Lively found invasive and refused to discuss. On the day of shooting, the scene in which Miss Lively's character gives birth, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath suddenly pressured Miss Lively to simulate full nudity, despite no mention of nudity for the scene in the script, her contract, or in previous creative discussions. Mr. Baldoni insisted to Miss Lively that women give birth naked and that his wife had ripped her clothes off during labor. He claimed it was not normal for women to remain in their hospital gowns while giving birth. Ms. Lively disagreed, but felt forced into a compromise that she would be naked from below the chest down. When the birth scene was filmed, the set was chaotic, crowded, and utterly lacking in standard industry protections for filming nude scenes, such as choreographing the scene with an intimacy coordinator, having a signed nudity rider, or simply turning off the monitors so the scene was not broadcast to all crew on set and on their personal phones and iPad. Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni also failed to close the set, which allowing non-essential crew to pass through while Miss Lively was mostly nude with her legs spread wide in stirrups and only a small piece of fabric covering her genitalia. Among the non-essential persons present that day was the Wayfarer co-chairman, Mr. Sorowitz, the financier, who flew in for one of his few set visits. Ms. Lively was not provided with anything to cover herself between takes until after she had made multiple requests. Ms. Lively became even more alarmed when Mr. Baldoni introduced his best friend to play the role of the OBGYN, which ordinarily a small role of this nature would be filled by a local actor. Ms. Lively felt the selection of Mr. Baldoni's friend for this intimate role, in which the actor's face and hands were in close proximity to her nearly nude genitalia for a birth scene, was invasive and humiliating. To add insult to injury, Mr. Heath approached Ms. Lively and her assistant on set and started playing a video of a fully nude woman with her legs spread apart. Ms. Lively thought he was showing her pornography and stopped him. Mr. Heath explained that the video was his wife giving birth. Ms. Lively was alarmed and asked Mr. Heath if his wife knew he was sharing the video, to which he replied, "She isn't weird about this stuff," as if Ms. Lively was weird for not welcoming it. Ms. Lively and her assistant excused themselves, stunned that Mr. Heath had shown them a nude video. Mr. Baldoni added a detailed scene to the film in which the underage version of Ms. Lively's character, Lily, loses her virginity. In both the book and the script for the film, there was no sex scene. Instead, the details about the moment were left to the audience's imagination, but Mr. Baldoni added in considerable details, including both dialogue between the young Lily and her boyfriend, Atlas, about the loss of her virginity, as well as a simulated sex scene in which Mr. Baldoni filmed and included in his initial cut of the film a close-up of young Lily's face accompanied by an audible gasp at the moment of penetration. Ms. Lively was informed that when this scene was shot, after Mr. Baldoni called cut, he walked over to the actors and said, "I know I'm not supposed to say this, but that was hot. What a creep. And did you two practice this before? Ew, gross." Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath discussed their personal sexual experiences and previous porn addiction and tried to pressure Ms. Lively to reveal details about her intimate life. During a car ride with Ms. Lively, her assistant and driver, Mr. Baldoni claimed to Ms. Lively that he had been sexually abused by a former girlfriend, which he has since shared publicly. At the end of this story, Mr. Baldoni shared that it has caused him to re-examine his past. He then said, "Did I always ask for consent? No. Did I always listen when they said no? No." Mr. Baldoni claimed this was an example of how we all have things from which we can learn and grow. Ms. Lively was unsettled by Mr. Baldoni's suggestion that he had engaged in sexual conduct without consent. When Ms. Lively exited the car, her driver immediately remarked that he did not want Ms. Lively to be alone, her driver, with Mr. Baldoni going forward. On the first day of production, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath described their past sexual relationships to Ms. Lively, including that one of them used to hook up with a woman. Mr. Baldoni said that he had decided the woman wasn't the one, so then Mr. Heath had gotten together with her. Ms. Lively found the description of passing along a woman to be disrespectful and disturbing. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath often spoke of their previous pornography addiction. Mr. Baldoni would often reference pornography to Ms. Lively, hoping to shut the subject down. She said to him privately she had never seen it. Later, when Mr. Baldoni was once again referencing his experiences with pornography, he revealed in front of other cast and crew that Ms. Lively had never seen it. It was an incredible invasion of her privacy to discuss any aspect of her intimate life with the cast and crew, much less reveal something that she had only told Mr. Baldoni to try to get him to stop talking about the subject with her. Mr. Baldoni engaged in other behaviors that were shocking and emotionally distressing. For example, he claimed he could speak to the dead and on several occasions told her that he had spoken to her dead father. Oh boy. It was off-putting, violated for Miss Baldoni to claim a personal relationship with her recently deceased father. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath were also constantly hugging and touching cast and crew. When Miss Lively or others avoided this touching, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath would retaliate by becoming irritated, cold, and uncollaborative. The result was an unwelcoming and mercurial environment for Miss Lively, her employees, and others on the set. Mr. Baldoni objectified Miss Lively and other women by commenting on or criticizing their bodies as sex objects. Mr. Baldoni often referred to women in the workplace as sexy. When they expressed discomfort, Mr. Baldoni would deflect or try to pass it off, which undermined Miss Lively and others' concerns. For example, on one occasion that Miss Lively observed, he told a female cast member that her leather pants looked sexy when she arrived to the set. When she rebuffed his comment because she was uncomfortable, rather than apologizing, he brushed it off with, "I can say that because my wife is here today." Ms. Lively felt embarrassed witnessing this kind of commentary, as others did. On another day, Ms. Lively wore a low-cut dress to facilitate breastfeeding, but had it covered up by a coat. When the jacket briefly popped open at one point to reveal the dress, Mr. Baldoni commented about how much he liked her outfit, which flustered Miss Lively. Later that day, Mr. Baldoni pressured Miss Lively, who in her pre-approved wardrobe, to remove her coat in front of the crew and multiple background actors in a packed bar. He said he wanted to see her onesie under the coat because it was zipped low to reveal her lace bra. Consistent with past practice, he said, "I think you look sexy," in a tone that made her feel oogled and exposed. With other female cast present, she said, "That's not what I'm going for." He bristled and replied, "I'm sorry, hot." Deeply uncomfortable, Miss Lively said, "Not that either." Mr. Baldoni replied sarcastically, "I guess I missed the HR meeting," and walked away. Another woman on the production spoke to Ms. Lively afterward to offer empathy and to share her own experiences with Mr. Baldoni, commenting about her in sexual terms. As a result of Mr. Baldoni's behavior, on May 29th of 2023, another cast member lodged a sexual harassment complaint about Mr. Baldoni's gross and unwanted comments towards her and others. While on the one hand, Mr. Baldoni was objectifying Miss Lively as a sex object, on the other hand, he went out of his way to message criticisms of her age and weight, neither of which she could change during filming. On the second day of filming, for example, Mr. Baldoni made the rest of the cast and crew wait for hours while he cried in Miss Lively's dressing room, claiming social media commenters were saying that Miss Lively looked old and unattractive based on paparazzi photos from the set. She tried to reassure him that she should look authentic in the scenes depicted in the photos, which were just after her character had been abused by her fictional husband rather than hot, and Mr. Baldoni, however, appeared focused on Ms. Lively's sexual appeal above all else. His lengthy outburst caused a delay in shooting, forcing an emotional scene to be shot haphazardly. To make matters worse, when Miss Lively tried to have a meeting with Mr. Heath and the other producers to discuss Mr. Baldoni's unprofessional behavior described above, that meeting turned into yet another violation. Rather than an ordinary meeting, time and place, Mr. Heath arrived unannounced at Miss Lively's hair and makeup trailer while she was topless and having body makeup removed by makeup artist. Miss Lively told Mr. Heath that she was almost done and they could meet when she was clothed. Mr. Heath, however, insisted that if she didn't allow him into her trailer to speak to him at that moment, that there would be no meeting with the other producers. Miss Lively reluctantly agreed, but asked that Mr. Heath keep his back turned. A few minutes into the conversation, Miss Lively noticed that Mr. Heath was staring directly at her while she was topless. When she called him out, Mr. Heath brushed it off as a habit of wanting to look at a person while speaking to them. Miss Lively and her hair and makeup artist were all deeply disturbed by this interaction on just the second day of filming. Throughout filming, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath invaded Miss Lively's privacy, entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding her infant child. Miss Lively often had to work while breastfeeding, which she felt comfortable doing so as long as she was given the time and space to cover herself. She did this frequently because she was not given breaks to feed her baby, but Miss Lively did not expect or consent to anyone entering her private spaces while topless, exposed, and vulnerable with her newborn, or during makeup application or removal. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath both showed a shocking lack of boundaries by invading her personal space when she was undressed and vulnerable. Hi, Snow Remover. Mr. Baldoni also routinely degraded Miss Lively by finding back-channel ways of criticizing her body and weight. A few weeks before filming began, and less than 4 months after Miss Lively had given birth to her fourth child, Miss Lively was humiliated to learn that Mr. Baldoni secretly called her fitness trainer without her knowledge or permission and implied that he wanted her to lose weight in 2 weeks. Mr. Baldoni told the trainer that he had asked because he was concerned about having to pick Miss Lively up in a scene for the movie, but there was no such scene. When Miss Lively caught strep throat, Mr. Baldoni offered as a gift to connect her with an expert. He had a retainer on to help her with probiotics and to combat the sickness. When Ms. Lively went to fill out the privacy forms, she saw the expert was not what Mr. Baldoni had represented her to be, but she instead was a weight loss specialist. Ms. Lively felt once again that Mr. Baldoni was shaming her for her body and weight. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath failed to implement COVID protocols when there was a COVID outbreak on the set, and Ms. Lively was told by another producer that because Wayfarer did not have insurance coverage for COVID, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath deliberately withheld from Ms. Lively that she had been exposed to COVID. Both Ms. Lively and her infant child contracted COVID from the outbreak. Ms. Lively and others lodged grievances regarding the conduct of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath, which Wayfarer declines to investigate. As the studio producing the film, Wayfarer was the employer of all the cast and crew and was thus responsible for ensuring workplace safety on the set. However, Wayfarer failed to provide Ms. Lively with even rudimentary employment protections such as employee handbook, sexual harassment policy, information, or any training on sexual harassment, discrimination, or respectful workplace expectations. Wayfarer also failed to provide Ms. Lively's information about the process and procedure for filing human resource complaints. As the producer and owner of the film, Wayfarer was legally obligated to address HR-related concerns or complaints. To Ms. Lively's knowledge, however, Wayfarer lacked any process for responding to complaints about its leadership. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath, who plainly were not going to investigate themselves. On May 26, 2023, Ms. Lively told a representative of Sony that she wanted to file an HR complaint about Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's misconduct. The Sony representative told Ms. Lively that Sony, as the distributor of the film, was not empowered to control Mr. Baldoni or Mr. Heath's behavior on set, and that such concerns must be raised with Wayfarer, the studio responsible for the production. Wayfarer, Mr. Baldoni, and Mr. Heath received or were aware of a number of HR grievances regarding their conduct. For example, on the first day of filming, while attempting to hug Ms. Lively's employee, Mr. Heath said, "I don't even know if we're allowed to do this. It's day one and we have an HR report already." Additionally, early in the production, another actress made a complaint about Mr. Baldoni's comments on her appearance. Mr. Baldoni expressly acknowledged her concerns in writing, stating he would adjust accordingly. Yet on June 8th, 2023, that actress informed Ms. Lively that outside of anything in a scene, I actually cannot talk to Justin at all. When did this? Mr. Baldoni later expressed suspicion regarding Ms. Lively's friendship with this actress as if they were colluding against him. As described above, Ms. Lively and others attempted to raise concerns to Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath regarding certain of the conduct described above during filming, but they were not addressed given the futility of asking Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath to address their own behavior. After unsuccessfully attempting to raise concerns with Sony, Ms. Lively expressly told Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath that there were serious HR problems on the set, and Mr. Heath responded that they knew, implying that someone had mentioned to them that Ms. Lively had raised concerns. In response, Mr. Heath told Ms. Lively that he thought she had wanted to see the nude video of his wife. In the same conversation, when Ms. Lively expressed her upset, Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni had hidden the fact that she had been exposed to COVID outbreak on the set, from which she and her infant contracted COVID. Instead of acknowledging responsibility and committing to safety moving forward, they expressed upset over production days missed and resulting costs. Despite receiving multiple detailed reports by Ms. Lively and others about Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's misconduct, Wayfarer failed to investigate those reports or to otherwise institute precautions for the cast. This is so even though the incidents discussed above, among others, did not take place in isolation, and many, if not all, were witnessed by others. By these and other behaviors, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfarer engaged in harassing conduct and failed their obligations to investigate complaints of workplace harassment, to prevent inappropriate and harassing behaviors on set, and to provide avenues for cast and crew members to safely raise concerns to neutral parties so they could be investigated and appropriately addressed. On May 2nd, 2023, the Writers Guild of America, made up of two American labor unions representing more than 16,000 writers in film, television, radio, and online media, went on strike in connection with a labor dispute with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The film temporarily halted production in June of 2023 as a result of WGA picketing. On June 15, 2023, Wayfarer and Mr. Baldoni announced that the continued halted production of the film due to the ongoing WGA strike and the lost days experienced from picketing. While the WGA strike was underway, on July 14, 2023, the American Actors Union, known as SAG-AFTRA, a labor union that represents about 160,000 people in the entertainment industry, including actors, recording artists, radio personalities, and other media professionals, began to strike due to a labor dispute with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The WGA strike ended on September 27, 2023, and the SAG-AFTRA strike ended on November 9th, 2023. Before returning to production, Ms. Lively attempted to address and resolve the problems on set and requested that Wayfarer agree to address the conditions described above. On November 9, 2023, Ms. Lively's attorneys provided Wayfarer's attorney with a document entitled Protections for Return to Production, attached hereto as Exhibit A. In conveying the protections for return to production document, Ms. Lively requested that Wayfarer agree to implement a plan that would enable everyone to return to work and complete the film with adequate protections to ensure a safe set moving forward. On November 11, 2023, counsel for Wayfarer indicated that Wayfarer, Sony, and production respectfully acknowledge that your client has concerns regarding safety, professionalism, and workplace culture. Although our perspective differs in many aspects, ensuring a safe environment for all involved is paramount, irrespective of differing viewpoints. Regarding your outlined requests, we find most of them not only reasonable, but also essential for the benefit of all parties involved. On November 15, 2023, Wayfarer, through It Ends With Us movie, LLC, agreed to the terms in a contractual rider executed on January 19, 2024, and attached hereto as Exhibit B. Among the contract's rider provisions, the first provision required that an intimacy coordinator must be present at all times when Ms. Lively is on set. The second provision required that with respect to artist and any and all rehearsal, filming, reviewing of video playback or dailies, and or any other interaction with any scene involving simulated sex, nudity, or partial nudity shall be restricted to those persons with essential business reasons for being present. Essential personnel, as approved by Ms. Lively and Todd Black, as further described in the nudity rider. The third provision required that there be no spontaneous improvising of any scenes involving intimate or sexual physical touching, simulated sex, or nudity with respect to Ms. Lively. Scenes involving Ms. Lively that involves kissing, depictions of sexual intercourse, or any other intimate or sexual physical touching must be contained in the screenplay. the most up-to-date draft approved by Ms. Lively in writing, choreographed in advance in the presence of the intimacy coordinator, and may only proceed as choreographed with the consent of all participants in advance. The fourth provision required that physical touching and/or comments on Ms. Lively's physical appearance must only be done or made in connection with the character and scene work, not as to Ms. Lively personally. Except as written into the screenplay or as strictly required in connection with makeup or costume preparation, there is to be no physical touching, including hugging, or of Ms. Lively, her on-set personnel, and/or her employees. The fifth provision requires that there are to be no discussions with Ms. Lively of personal experiences with sex or nudity, including as it relates to conduct with spouses or others. The sixth provision requires that no one will enter, attempt to enter, interrupt, pressure, or request entrance to Ms. Lively's trailer while she is in a state of undress for any reason. The seventh provision required that there shall be no rehearsal or filming of Ms. Lively, including Ms. Lively's approved body double or any nudity, partial nudity, or simulated sex, except as expressly permitted in accordance with the nudity rider. Any such footage of Ms. Lively or Ms. Lively's body double previously shot without the nudity rider in place may not be used without Ms. Lively and her legal representative's prior written consent. The 10th provision required that there shall be no retaliation of any kind against Ms. Lively for raising concerns about the conduct described in this letter or for these requirements. Any changes in attitude, sarcasm, marginalization, or other negative behavior, either on set or otherwise, including during publicity and promotional work as a result of these requests, is retaliatory and unacceptable, and it will be met with immediate action. The 12th provision required that Wayfarer will engage an additional experienced A-level producer approved by Ms. Lively. Todd Black is hereby approved. The approved producer to actively supervise the production, including monitoring the safety of the cast and crew, ensuring compliance with the schedule, and overseeing logistics, problem solving, and creative issues, provided that the company shall have the right to approve the agreement with the approved producer. The 15th provision required that any rehearsal or shooting involving Miss Lively or any other performer depicting the character of Lily that involves nudity, including partial nudity or simulated sex, must be conducted strictly in accordance with the nudity rider and must adhere to the approved script. The 16th provision provided that any and all day players that participate in any way in scenes with Miss Lively involving nudity, partial nudity, and or simulated sex must be engaged through customary industry talent agencies and not through personal connections of the director and or producer. The 17th provision requires that at Miss Lively's election and all hands in-person meeting before production resumes will include the director, the existing producers, the Sony representative, the approved producer, Ms. Lively, and Ms. Lively's designated representatives to confirm and approve a plan for implementation of the above that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Ms. Lively, her employees, and all cast and crew moving forward. The all-hands in-person meeting provided for in the contract rider occurred on January 4th, 2024. Before production resumed, as described above, the meeting was attended by Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, producer Alex Sachs, producer Todd Black, and Sony's Angie Giannetti, as well as Ms. Lively and her husband, who attended as Ms. Lively's request as another designated representative as provided for in the contract, given the subject matter of the meeting. At the January 4th, 2024 meeting, the parties discussed a list of 20 examples of the behaviors that gave rise to the contract rider From her contemporaneous notes, these behaviors are listed in full earlier in the complaint at paragraph 3. Neither Mr. Baldoni nor Mr. Heath denied the veracity of Ms. Lively's examples. Ms. Lively requested that Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath agree that such behaviors would no longer take place, as memorialized in the language of the writer, and Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath agreed. Production of the film resumed on January 5, 2024, and concluded on February 9th of 2024. In connection with the film's public release, Ms. Lively and the rest of the cast actively promoted the film in accordance with the marketing plan for the film. Wayfarer had embraced and on information and belief had formally approved of this marketing plan. The marketing plan and related talking points expressly required Ms. Lively, as well as all other cast and crew, to engage in promotional activities to focus more on her character's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about domestic violence. And to avoid talking about this film that makes it feel sad or heavy. It's a story of hope. As detailed above, Ms. Lively and fellow cast members promoted the film in accordance with the talking points and marketing plan during appearances on red carpets, interviews, press junkets, fan events, and pop-up experiences leading up to the film's release. Mr. Baldoni publicly embraced the marketing plan. In early May 2024, Mr. Baldoni appeared at a floral-themed trailer launch event, which included him personally making flower bouquets for influencers, photo opportunity, and film-branded latte art. As late as July 25, 2024, Mr. Baldoni appeared at the pop-up of Lily Bloom's flower shop in Century City, California, where he held a long-stem rose microphone and playfully gave tours of the shop to influencers. In a TikTok interview posted that day, Mr. Baldoni excitedly walks through the pop-up and states that he will be giving tours all day, every day, until August 9th. In advance of the release of the film, nearly all cast members chose to appear in public separately from Mr. Baldoni given his on-set behavior. Mr. Baldoni became concerned that the public would discover that something is much bigger under the surface on information and belief, alluding to the complaints lodged by Ms. Lively and others. At that point, Mr. Baldoni pivoted away from the film's marketing plan to explain his absence from the rest of the cast. He shifted his focus away from a message of female triumph to instead capitalize on female trauma. After the film's premiere, Mr. Baldoni changed his Instagram profile, canceled lighthearted social media posts, and instructed his team to look for survivors' reactions and support, all in an effort to quickly shift his own public narrative to focus solely on survivors and domestic violence organizations. Ms. Abel cautioned Mr. Baldoni that this shift might be too drastic too soon. Still, Mr. Baldoni insisted on a TikTok strategy, and that his promotional activities for the film should seek to amplify what he described as survivor content. Okay, this is Justin to Jennifer. Hey, just landed. What is the TikTok strategy? I'd like to see you guys start posting me only talking about domestic violence and clips and why this movie is so important. The team followed Mr. Baldoni's instruction. For her part, Ms. Abel concluded, "It doesn't feel performative now that you've done major substantial press on the topic." On August 11th, 2024, Ms. Abel laid out a posting timeline to Mr. Baldoni and the team, stating, "Theater surprise, and then I think survivor content first thing tomorrow, which then will be helpful for the news cycle." By repositioning Mr. Baldoni's marketing of the film on information and belief, Mr. Baldoni hoped to create the false impression that he had chosen not to appear alongside other cast members. Mr. Baldoni directed his team to share on his public Instagram feed the private messages he had received from survivors sharing their stories of domestic violence with him. Mr. Baldoni's team talked him out of this idea, writing that they do not recommend using private DMs as content. Justin, such a Jennifer. Also, I need you guys to really be in on all the stories I'm tagged in. I think you should let all people DM me so you can see people's reactions to film, and I can be reposting everything. These next 36 hours are crucial, and we need to be on it, looking at everything, finding the most emotional and touching content from survivors supporting this film and reposting. Need you to be finding survivors, sharing their stories and amplifying them on my page and TikTok. Mr. Baldoni went so far as proposing to share a video of a woman's birth moment, but his team talked him out of it, warning that it might be perceived as weird and was too intimate. Still, Mr. Baldoni's team was more than willing to deploy survivor stories and reactions and images to protect Mr. Baldoni's image. Mr. Baldoni and his team formulated a retaliatory plan. Wayfarer knew the details of Miss Lively and others' concerns, the HR complaints raised regarding Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's behavior, Miss Lively's contractual rider, and the January 4th, 2024 meeting to discuss their behavior. In addition, Wayfarer's PR team knew about the claims by Miss Lively and others, as well as the protections rider, as Wayfarer sent the materials to them in November of 2023. As early as May of 2024, Mr. Baldoni and told his team that they needed a plan to get ahead of the claims against him in the event they were to go public. Specifically, Mr. Baldoni wrote, "Just want you guys to have a plan. Please make me feel more at ease." On May 17th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni texted his publicist, Jennifer Abel, that Ms. Lively's husband had blocked him on social media, stating, "We should have a plan for if she does the same when the movie comes out." In June of 2024, a month after Mr. Baldoni's first promotional event for the film, Ms. Lively and others in the cast fulfilled their first publicity obligation for the film without Mr. Baldoni. They did not publicly discuss the misconduct that had occurred on set, nor did they ever suggest to Wayfarer or Mr. Baldoni that they intended to discuss their concerns publicly. Yet on June 20th, 2024, Ms. Abel texted Mr. Heath her concern. "We can't have fans starting to guess why JB is left out of this stuff." Likewise, Mr. Baldoni strategized with his publicist, Ms. Abel, about various ways in which they might cover up or explain away his on-set misconduct. On June 24th, 2024, for example, Mr. Baldoni proposed an offensive move showing his neurodivergence and some of the attributes that come with it, to explain that anything that he had been accused of was social awkwardness and impulsive speech. Okay, let's see here. Look what this says. In fact, both Ms. Lively and her husband had unfollowed Mr. Baldoni's social media accounts 10 months before. Consistent with this plan, Mr. Baldoni had recently began making the rounds with the press discussing his ADHD. See Kimberly Speakman. Justin Baldoni reveals he was diagnosed with ADHD at 40 after struggling through school. "I felt broken." People, December 5th, 2024. It says here, Christy Pina. Justin Baldoni says he had a near breakdown when filming It Ends With Us, There Was So Much Pain, The Hollywood Reporter, again, Justin Baldoni's Near Breakdown, It Ends With Us, Sexual Trauma, ADHD. And then another one, Justin Baldoni reveals new clinical, let's see what that says, diagnosis. I haven't spoken about this publicly to Parade. And then, okay, so let's go back to where we were here. So here we are with, this is from Justin to Jennifer. Hey guys, one thing I think I want to do is the Dr. Amen show. Matt, I know you have your feelings about it, but his practice saved my friend Miranda's life a few months ago. With everything going on, I want to have an offensive move showing my neurodivergence and some of the attributes that come with it so that I can start talking about it. Most anything that I have been accused of is social awkwardness and impulsive speech, and I think me sitting down with him and just looking at my brain and talking about some of these things will be helpful for me. The same day, Ms. Abel reviewed again the agreed upon list of protections that form the basis for the contractual rider. On July 24th, 2024, Mr. Abel emailed Mr. Heath and others requesting the legal letter that was sent to Ms. Lively and her team stating, per our conversation, we will go through point by point and draft context surrounding each situation. We can then flag what we are missing that would be helpful to arm us in the case we need to refute any of the claims. On July 26th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni sent Ms. Abel a Variety article about Francis Ford Coppola's inappropriate behavior on set during production of his movie Megalopolis, including his alleged kissing of cast and crew as described by unnamed sources. In conveying the article, Mr. Baldoni stated, "This is the shite that I'm sure they want to do." On July 29th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Abel discussed a proposal to get ahead of any potential publicity regarding Ms. Lively's HR complaints against him with a social and digital combat plan. As the film's release date of August 9th, 2024 drew closer, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, Wayfarer, Ms. Abel, and others continued to pursue a strategy on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer to arm themselves against the possibility that Ms. Lively or others might go public with the claims against Mr. Baldoni or Wayfarer. The plan took shape with Wayfarer's retention on behalf of Wayfarer and Mr. Baldoni of Melissa Nathan, which occurred on or about July 31st of 2024. Melissa Nathan is a crisis manager. On or about June 20th of 2024, Ms. Nathan launched the agency group PR TAG. TAG markets itself as a team of crisis specialists and communication experts that redefine the rules of reputation management. TAG's website states at TAG, it's more than just creating a powerful narrative. It's knowing how to navigate that narrative towards continued success and a lasting legacy. TAG's website states that it offers comprehensive communication services for individuals, businesses, and corporations looking to invest in reputation management and the growth of their unique public profiles. TAG specializes in crisis communications, having managed some of the biggest public-facing crises to date, and utilizing that fast-paced, reputation-first mindset with all of its day-to-day clients, which span a variety of industries, including entertainment, media, business, and sports. TAG services include messaging and narrative development, media relations, crisis communications and management, and digital and social strategy, among others. By July 31st, 2024, Wayfarer had started to put together a timeline of events to be shared with Ms. Nathan and TAG. According to TAG's own planning document, the purpose of Ms. Nathan's engagement was to help Mr. Baldoni get ahead of the narrative and mitigate bad press that might arise from Ms. Lively and others' HR complaints before becoming public by engaging in techniques such as a rapid response communication system and cataloging third-party advocates willing to provide a potential quote or engage with reporters on Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's behalf to mitigate negative narratives from a source outside of Wayfarer. As set forth above, on August 5th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni sent Ms. Abel a screenshot of a thread on X regarding another female public figure alleged history of bullying many women. Mr. Baldoni stated, "This is what we would need." The next day, even though Ms. Nathan and TAG had already begun performing work on behalf of Wayfarer and Mr. Baldoni, Ms. Nathan texted a text chain with Ms. Abel and Mr. Heath providing pricing quotes. And ranging from $75,000 to $175,000 for TAG crisis mitigation services. Hold on one second. I just want to check my back cameras. One second. So I heard something. It looks like, it's, that's what it is. It's freezing rain. I heard something hit my window. Okay. All right, thanks. I just wanted to see what that was. All right. So, for tax crisis mitigation services, Mr. Nathan explained the quotes as follows. Quote 1, $175K. Look at this. Look at this money. This will be for a 3 to 4 month period and includes a website to discuss full Reddit, full social account takedowns, full social crisis team on hand for anything, engage with audiences in the right way, start threads of theories to discuss. This is the way to be fully 100% protected. Quote 2, $25K per month, minimum 3 months as it needs to seed, same as above. This will be for creation of social fan engagement, to go back and forth with any negative accounts, helping to change narrative and stay on track. Ms. Nathan stated all of this is most importantly untraceable. There's a lot more to both of these quotes, but easier to discuss via phone in terms of capabilities and what I have personally experienced in and out of crisis scenarios. And Melissa to Jennifer. Hi, Janie Jen. So incredibly glad that the press went so well today. And from what I know, Justin felt incredibly supported. He is lucky to have you all. We took the day today to do some research and get digital quotes in from the two teams we use that get the best results. As you are both aware, we are in a predicament that we just do not know the outcome of right now. Saying that, full transparency is key here. We have seen the most innocuous issues turn giant due to socials, or the highest crisis have no effects on social whatsoever. You just cannot tell at this stage. But Blake Lively does have some of the TS fan base, so we will be taking it extremely seriously. We also understand audience is not solely JB fan base, but the studio, so it is covering all of the basis time. Quote 175. Okay, and that's what they put there. Okay. We went through that part. All of this will be most importantly untraceable. There is a lot more. Either way, I do feel it is better to be safe, but I do realize costs are something I am sure you did not count on when you took on this project, this situation. Let me know how you would like, when you would like to discuss more around on PT tomorrow. The Hollywood Reporter announced the retention of Ms. Nathan and TAG on August 13, 2024. The report stated in part, the news comes days after sleuths flooded TikTok with speculation about an alleged rift between Baldoni and his cast and crew, including co-star and producer Blake Lively, as well as Hoover. Chatter spiked when fans noticed Baldoni's absence from a joint press event and the lack of group photos of Lively and Baldoni together at the New York premiere August 6th. Some also pointed out that neither Lively or Hoover nor the rest of the cast follow Baldoni on Instagram, though he follows them. Ms. Abel, Ms. Nathan, and others employed or engaged by TAG perpetrated a retaliation scheme against Ms. Lively in collusion with Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfarer. This scheme was what TAG described as a social manipulation plan, relying on direct and constant media engagement, the seeding of content on traditional and social media platforms, the boosting of content, sometimes the very content that TAG and its affiliates have seeded, the suppressing of negative content about Mr. Baldoni, and amplifying of negative content about Ms. Lively. On August 4th, 2024, before any of the cast sat down for interviews at the film's press junkets, Ms. Abel stated to Mr. Heath and Wayfarer personnel that she had held an in-person meeting with a contributor to People, Fox News, In Touch, and US Weekly. Ms. Abel explained that during the meeting she had fully briefed the contributor of the situation with Ms. Lively. Ms. Abel stated that the contributor was armed and ready to take this story of Blake weaponizing feminism and assured Mr. Heath that the contributor will do anything for us. Jennifer to Jamie, Jamie, thanks for the call. Confidentially, I'm out at dinner with a friend of 12 plus years who writes for People magazine, Fox News, In Touch, US Weekly, and she is fully briefed of the situation and is armed and ready to take this story of Blake weaponizing feminism to any of her outlets the minute we give her the green light. She hates Blake, has heard this story before, and will do anything for us, just FYI. Nice, right? Right? Okay. On or around August 2nd of 2024, Ms. Abel connected the contributor with Ms. Nathan. Subsequently, Ms. Nathan engaged directly with social media on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer regarding Mr. Baldoni, Ms. Lively, and the film. On August 2nd, 2024, Ms. Nathan, Mr. Baldoni, and Ms. Abel and others had a phone call to discuss the services that Ms. Nathan and TAG would provide for Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer. Subsequently, on August 2nd, 2024, TAG circulated a document to Mr. Baldoni and others entitled Scenario Planning It Ends With Us, as described above. Of note, the scenario planning document states that there are several potential scenarios at play here which we should be prepared for should Ms. Lively and her team make her grievances public. The scenario planning document provides TAG's recommendation to get ahead of the narrative. This includes suggesting misleading messaging that production members lost their jobs due to Ms. Lively's takeover and insisted upon involvement. Isn't that interesting? Ms. Lively has a less than favorable reputation in the industry. Ms. Lively involved her husband to create an imbalance of power between her and Mr. Baldoni. Ms. Lively had a clear, likely motive to bully her way into buying the rights for It Starts With Us, the sequel to the film, currently owned by Wayfarer. The scenario planning document states that TAG could also explore planting stories about the weaponization of feminism and how people in Blake Lively's circle, like Taylor Swift, have been accused of utilizing these tactics to bully into getting what they want. Upon review of the scenario planning document, Mr. Baldoni informed Mr. Heath that he was not in love with the document they sent. Not sure I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call. Mr. Heath responded, that's the most important part of this, is how quickly they can shut down and play stories in your favor. Later the same day, Ms. Abel conveyed to Mr. Nathan and then that Mr. Baldoni was questioning whether the plan was aggressive enough, texting that Mr. Baldoni wanted to feel like Ms. Lively could be buried. Ms. Nathan responds, of course, but you know when we send over the documents, we can't send over the work will or could do, because that could get us in a lot of trouble. We can't write it down. We can't write we will destroy her. Imagine if a document saying all those things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. Okay. Again, you can, of course, do that, but I do think he needs to know I'm going to confidentially send you something he's texting me and Jamie on the side just to arm you before this call. I think you guys need to be tough and show the strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios. He wants to feel like she can be buried. We can't write it down to him. We can't write, we will destroy her. We will go to this. We will do this. We will do this. We will do this. He has to look at it as an information document for us to be armed with. That's all. Imagine if a document saying all those things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. Imagine that, Melissa. On August 4th, Ms. Abel texted Ms. Nathan stating, I'm having reckless thoughts of wanting to plant pieces this week of how horrible Blake is to work with, just to get ahead of it. She is putting us through hell. Ms. Lively was, in fact, doing nothing other than engaging in the approved marketing plan for the film at that time. Ms. Nathan responded, same, and indicated that she had already spoken to the Daily Mail. Look at these professional mean girls, right? Professional, getting paid big bucks for it. So that's Jennifer to Melissa. I'm having reckless thoughts of wanting to plant pieces this week of how horrible Blake is to work with. Just to get ahead of it, she's putting us through hell. Same. And I'm already off the record, spoke to the editor of the Daily Mail because she's my friend. Nice. She's ready when we are. Ms. Abel and Ms. Nathan viewed and referred to their shared work on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer as a social combat plan. I think we really need to put the social combat plan then into motion. So do I. The same day, Ms. Abel corresponded with TAG personnel regarding her discussion with Ms. Nathan regarding social manipulation, which she described as distinct from social media mitigation and proactive fan posting to counter the narrative. Okay, so let's see, this is, thanks Katie, just for clarity, we understand, does this cover your initial fee and plus what we discussed in terms of social media mitigation and proactive fan posting to counter the narrative, or is this in addition to the $15,000 previously agreed upon fee and does not include what we discussed earlier regarding social manipulation? Okay, so they're talking about When media sources made direct inquiries regarding potentially unflattering stories about Mr. Baldoni specifically, Ms. Nathan, Ms. Abel, and their teams worked to suppress those stories. For example, on April 7, 2024, TAG indicated their intent to leverage social to quiet kill media coverage regarding public suspicions regarding Mr. Baldoni's disconnect from the film's cast. On August 9, 2024, Ms. Nathan sent Ms. Abel 2 links to articles, one from The Hollywood Reporter entitled, "Did Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have a rift over It Ends With Us? Sleuthing TikTokers Think So," and one from the Daily Mail entitled "Disturbing Truth Behind Why Blake Lively and her It Ends With Us stars are feuding with Justin Baldoni." The Daily Mail article reports on allegations that Justin Baldoni was chauvinistic and borderline abusive on the set of It Ends With Us, and discusses this and other claims with respect to the film and its cast in detail. Mr. Abel stated to Ms. Nathan, "I can tell you've done a lot of work here," and continued, "Nothing about being unsafe, fat comments, sexual." She concluded, "Thank effing G." On August 8, 2024, Ms. Abel stated that the situation had moved from just monitoring and scenario planning to Ms. Nathan and me having to have an off-the-record conversation with outlets such as the Today Show. Ms. Abel noted that because of Ms. Nathan's relationships, the outlets were being kept at bay. On April 9, 2024, Ms. Nathan indicated to Ms. Abel that she was on the phone with her sister, Sarah Nathan, a journalist at the New York Post and a contributor at Page 6. She remarked that Mr. Baldoni's religion should be taken out for media coverage. She went on to state, and mostly the misogynistic. Later the same day, Ms. Nathan texted Ms. Abel a link of an article on Page 6 by Sarah Nathan entitled "Truth Behind It Ends With Us, Feud Rumors. Justin Baldoni Made Blake Lively Uncomfortable," sources say, stating, "I knew she would keep uncomfortable." On August 9, 2024, Ms. Abel and Ms. Nathan discussed suppressing 2 stories that report Ms. Lively was uncomfortable on the set. Ms. Nathan texted, "All press is so overwhelming. We're confused people. So much mixed messaging. It's actually really funny if you think about it." Here we are, Jennifer to Melissa. "So we're in the clear now. Did we survive?" "We survived. All press is so overwhelming. We've confused people. So much mixed messaging. It's actually really funny if you think about it." Ms. Nathan further texted Ms. Abel that the worst is over and that Mr. Baldoni likely would not be canceled, corroborating that the nature of the ongoing campaign was designed to harm Ms. Lively and conceal Mr. Baldoni's conduct on the set. Great work, ladies. Great work. You should feel proud of yourselves. The following day, Mr. Abel stated that the narrative online is so freaking good and fans are still sticking up for Justin, and there's literally been no pickup on those 2 articles, which is actually shocking to me, but I see this as a total success, as does Justin. You did such amazing work, Mr. Nathan responded. Ms. Nathan responded, "So did you." Jennifer to Melissa, "Yes, I had some people text me too, and I just didn't respond. The narrative online is so freaking good, and fans are still sticking up for Justin, and there literally has been no pickup of those 2 articles, which is actually shocking to me, but I see that as a total success, as does Justin. You did such amazing work. Narrative is crazy good, so did you." Ms. Nathan texted later the same day, "The majority of socials are so pro-Justin, and I don't even agree with half of them." She continued, I mean, that was just a lot of work, just talking everyone off the effing ledge for those 2 pieces. Ms. Nathan followed up again, texting, he doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him just how effing lucky. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations, other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there's just so much. They knew exactly what he was, right? Okay. And it said nothing, very little pickup. Fans remain supportive of you and believe the issue of the feud is because she took control of the movie. The following day, Ms. Abel confirmed to Mr. Baldoni that there had been nothing, very little pickup, and that fans believe the issue of the feud is because she took control of the movie. Earlier on August 9th, Ms. Nathan had shared with Ms. Abel that she had been informed, we are crushing it on Reddit. Ms. Nathan's reference to Jed is a reference to Mr. Jed Wallace, an independent contractor based in Austin, Texas, who was retained by TAG to perform social media services on behalf of Wayfarer and Mr. Baldoni in connection with TAG's engagement. The quotation appears to be a reference to efforts by Mr. Wallace to seed and influence online forums on Reddit, attacking Ms. Lively and defending Mr. Baldoni. The same day, an employee of TAG texted a link to a salacious story about Ms. Lively's family and noted, the tides are swirling around Ryan now, FYI. Along those same lines, the team had previously shared an upsetting TikTok video which called for Blake to divorce Ryan, writing, you guys will love this. TAG then described the post as very helpful. So here it is, you guys will love this, puts that TikTok basically saying that Blake needs to divorce Ryan because he's made her into a meme. He's ruining her biggest movie of the year, forcing her to ostracize Justin, rewriting the script, etc. On August 10, 2024, Ms. Nathan stated to Ms. Abel that socials are really ramping up. She continued, it's actually sad because it just shows you have people really want to hate on women. Here they go, right? There they go, hating on women. They know it, they're doing it, and they're promoting it. The same day, a member of the TAG team advised of a shift on social due largely to Jed and his team efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. Right? Bring their family members into it. Okay, hi team. So far, extremely limited pickup on Daily Mailer page 6. We'll continue to keep an eye out and send pieces as needed, but so far it's been steady coverage on pure speculation. We've also started to see a shift on social, due largely to Jed and his team. Yeah, all those accounts on Reddit, right? Yeah. On his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight. Oh my gosh, how long do you hear that? Shining a spotlight. It's our job to expose that person, right? Whatever person it is. It's our job. We're a safe community. We're just trying to expose XYZ person, right? Day and night, night and day, channels, forums, everywhere. We're trying to expose them. For what? For their narrative. So they're shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. Again, we'll continue to send links and screenshots, but wanted to send an update in the meantime. Wow, you ladies should be so proud of yourselves. Professional mean girls. Further, Miss Nathan and her team at TAG, and I hope everybody sees you and exposes all of you, Miss Nathan and Jeb and all of you, for the terrible, terrible misleading you do at people's expenses. Horrible. Further, Miss Nathan and her team at TAG help generate or otherwise influence The content put forth by various TikTok account holders during the same period of time, Ms. Nathan, Ms. Abel, and their teams were heavily monitoring, had friendly updating them, and sought to address unflattering commentary regarding Mr. Baldoni while augmenting the spread of stories that were favorable to Mr. Baldoni. For example, on August 9th of 2024, Ms. Abel circulated a screenshot of a post by a woman stating Justin, the creator of a show called My Last Days, exploits the struggles of individuals facing terminal illnesses for his own gain. He found my friend who is battling a serious illness and followed her life closely. Despite her grace in not speaking ill of him, I sensed from the start that something was deeply wrong. Justin weaponizes therapeutic language, presenting himself as thoughtful and supportive, yet his actions reveal a very different reality. He portrays himself as an ally to women and the vulnerable, but it's all a facade. He manipulates the vernacular of care to mask his true intentions. In reality, none of the proceeds from the show benefited the individuals he profiled. He even had the audacity to depict her hometown, a vibrant and affluent community, as a small, impoverished town. His portrayal was not just inaccurate, but insulting. Once the show aired, Justin took his profits and vanished, leaving nothing but a sense of exploitation in its wake. His behavior was not just tacky and gross, it was a betrayal of the very people he claimed to uplift. In response to the article, Ms. Abel stated, I'm assuming this is not true in the slightest. Either way, we flagged to Jed and his team for more serious action on the social side. Similarly, on August 13th, 2024, the team discussed ways to use the digital team to amplify positive stories about Mr. Baldoni. Likewise, on August 18th, an employee of TAG suggested that they chat with Jed in response to other allegations made online regarding Mr. Baldoni. Okay, so this girl is claiming that Justin invited her up to his hotel room years ago. I didn't want to share the vid, did a screen record, and this is her account so you guys can look at it. Part of me wants his former assistant to comment and say this never happened. Ridiculous. Let us chat to Jed as well on this. On any occasion, any member of Wayfarer or the social manipulation team could text the link to a positive story about Mr. Baldoni or a negative story about Ms. Lively and ask that someone boosts the story to the public or engage in the comments to fuel the desired narrative. On August 18, 2024, Mr. Baldoni circulated a TikTok video in which the poster criticized Ms. Lively for not speaking about domestic violence in press interviews. A member of Ms. Nathan's team responded that she would let Digital know. During the same time period, when media sources inquired about HR complaints that were made on the set of the film, Ms. Nathan, Ms. Abel, and their teams worked to suppress coverage of these HR complaints. Further, on or around August 14, 2024, media outlets directly inquired about HR complaints made on the set because they were being told there were at least 3 HR complaints filed against Justin Baldoni on the set of It Ends With Us, and inquired if the complaints were investigated and what the results would be. By this time, individuals at TAG, Ms. Nathan and Ms. Abel, were aware of the existence of HR complaints and sought clarity as to the specific HR complaints at issue in order to better counter them in the press. Hey guys, read the TMZ thing, read the HR complaints. Our understanding is that 2 were from Blake, read the sexy complaint. Is the additional one, read the thing with Jamie and her apartment in NYC. Just want to clarify. Approximately 1 minute later, Ms. Abel asserted the need to position the claims as claims that are already out there about the kiss and the weight comment, referencing earlier public reporting by TMZ on Mr. Baldone's lingering kiss with Ms. Lively and Mr. Baldone's comments regarding Ms. Lively's weight on set. I think we need to position it as the claims that are out there about the kiss and the weight comment. On or around the same date, Ms. Nathan directly engaged with several media platforms discussing the issue of the HR complaints made against Mr. Baldoni while on the set of the film. On August 15th, Ms. Nathan texted Ms. Abel that DM hounded me regarding HR complaints. She stated that DM is not running any content about it. Continuing, Jen, this went so well. I am effing dying. I have to call you later in a bit, tell you how this went. It was genius. So, okay, we have the 4 majors standing down on the HR complaint. I think we are fine on that bit. During the same period, Ms. Nathan and her team, planted or otherwise, were involved in generating or influencing the content publicly put forth on social media, including Reddit and TikTok, as well as online media sources. For example, on August 13th, various text messages were exchanged between Ms. Abel and the journalist Sarah Nathan, who, as explained above, is Melissa Nathan's sister. These messages consisted of drafts of a story outlining Ms. Lively's role in making final cuts to the film. After Sarah Nathan circulated draft language related to Ms. Lively's involvement in the different cuts of the film, Ms. Abel sent Sarah Nathan revisions to the draft, which Sarah Nathan offered to amend. On the same day, an article authored by Sarah Nathan titled Blake Lively approved final cut of It Ends With Us amid feud with co-star director Justin Baldoni was published in Page 6. Owned by the New York Post. The article addressed other topics, among other topics, Ms. Lively's role in approving the final cut of the film, but emphasizes how Ms. Lively contributed to almost every aspect of the film that her husband wrote, one of the most important scenes in the movie, and that she was begged to remove one of her song choices from the film despite Mr. Baldoni's ownership of the rights to the book via his production company Wayfarer. The language contained in the article is almost verbatim copy of the language exchanged between Sarah Nathan and Ms. Abel via text and reflects multiple of Ms. Abel's revisions to Sarah Nathan's original proposed draft. Tag publicly shared this article on one or more social media platforms, including Reddit, prompting various negative comments in relation to Ms. Lively and her husband, and the narrative that Ms. Lively steamrolled or bulldozed Mr. Baldoni and the film for her own personal gain. The very same day, Ms. Nathan sent an article from the Daily News entitled, "Is Blake Lively Set to Be Canceled?" String of hard-to-watch videos that have surfaced following tone-deaf Q&A to promote It Ends With Us could tarnish the 36-year-old star's golden Hollywood image for good. Ms. Abel stated, "You really outdid yourself with this piece." And Ms. Nathan responded, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." Oh boy, you're great. Give her a round of applause for being a professional, mean girl that deliberately, fraudulently slams other women to make them look horrible for money. Isn't that amazing, right? Follow and disregards abusive, whether they're men or women, but those abusive people, right? Great. You're something to be proud of. Hang your hat on that. Really. Wow. Hang your hat on that. Your name will be all out there. Following the August 2024 launch of Ms. Lively's hair care line, Blake Brown, which she spent 7 years building, the Instagram account of the brand was flooded by harassing and derogatory comments. Sound familiar? Including many posted by user accounts that had no followers and no prior posts. Sound familiar? Suggesting inauthenticity and which did not relate to the brand's products. To take just one example, one comment posted on the Blake Brown account by a user that as of December 19, 2024 shows user metrics indicating 0 posts, 0 followers, and Zero Following commented, "How about you stop paying the media to trash and smear Justin? That would be a good start, you awful human being." Another user, also Zero Posts, Zero Followers, Zero Following, posted, "We want Justin's cut of the movie. He actually care about DV." All right. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Sarowitz, along with Mr. Heath, not only encouraged efforts to target Ms. Lively and her family, but they went as far as to provide input and ideas on ways to negatively influence the narrative against Ms. Lively and her family. For instance, on August 9th, 2024, the film's release date, after sharing certain negative articles about himself with Ms. Abel, Mr. Baldoni stated, "There's no way we can just let this go." Additionally, on August 15th, Mr. Baldoni texted Ms. Nathan and Ms. Abel, stating that his business partner, Mr. Sarowitz, suggested flipping the narrative arising from unnamed sources who had made false claims about Mr. Reynolds' involvement in the script of the film, and suggested ways to manipulate those rumors to make Mr. Reynolds appear to be anti-feminist. There was no truth to these claims. So now, let's go in there and rip her husband apart and ruin his reputation and career. They're all on board for that. And the Steve, you're funding this with your money. Everybody will know about you too. My partner Steve, and it'll be truth though, Steve, unlike what you guys tried to flip. False narratives. This will be true narratives. My partner Steve asked about flipping the narrative from this leak this morning about Ryan saying the script was a disaster and he saved the movie. To something about Ryan claiming the female hired was feminist, writer didn't know how to tackle a female film, etc., using their own words against them. Ms. Nathan assured Mr. Baldoni that this is an easy flip. Oh, Ms. Nathan, what a professional mean girl. Before indicating that she was already working on a story for Variety that would achieve this goal. As of August, a lot of people are going to fall with this. You know that, right? And these magazines and these writers and all these people that were involved. It all comes out. It all comes out. Okay. As of August 16th, Ms. Nathan was continuing to confer with additional reporters to release stories. So those reporters are going to have a very, very bad image. To release stories that would cast Ms. Lively and her Mr. Reynolds in a negative light. Meanwhile, Ms. Lively neither publicly commented nor directed any of her representatives to comment or engage with the print media, social media, or otherwise about the hostile work environment Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfarer created. Indeed, throughout the time period discussed herein, Ms. Lively did not provide her publicist with details about the hostile work environment, those she, alongside the other cast members and crews, had experienced. Moreover, Ms. Lively expressly instructed her publicist not to engage with press inquiries, including ones regarding the on-set behavior of Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, or Wayfarer. Experiencing the very sudden tidal wave of increasing negative public attention building around her, however, Ms. Lively began to suspect that the extraordinarily rapid shift in public sentiment and press coverage that began immediately after the rest of the cast and crew attended the world premiere was likely orchestrated by the men about whom she had raised HR complaints. On information and belief, Mr. Baldoni was desperate to suppress any suggestion that he engaged in inappropriate conduct, much less sexual harassing conduct, because it would entirely undermine his carefully curated public image as a feminist ally. In 2017, Justin Baldoni presented a TED Talk entitled, "Why I'm Done Trying to Be Man Enough." Mr. Baldoni challenged men to be man enough to stand up to other men when they hear locker room talk, when they hear stories of sexual harassment. Mr. Baldoni asked listeners, will you actually stand up and do something so that one day we don't have to live in a world where a woman has to risk everything and come forward to say the words, "Me too"? During the TED Talk, Mr. Baldoni displayed numerous screenshots of media coverage of himself from various sources as examples of his decision to use a social platform as a kind of Trojan horse wherein he could create a daily practice of authenticity and vulnerability. Mr. Baldoni then claimed, "The response has been incredible. It's been affirming. It's been heartwarming. I get tons of love and press and positive messages daily." Around the same time of that TED Talk in 2017, Mr. Baldoni announced that launch of a male talk show through his media company, Wayfarer Entertainment, called Man Enough. Though the show, Mr. Baldoni sought to have public conversations on camera that he had never seen men have. In one episode of his show, Man Enough, Mr. Baldoni hosted a roundtable with really strong men, including Mr. Heath and others, in reaction to the Me Too movement, to collectively learn from each other, from experts, and hear firsthand from women, and try to figure out how we can be better allies in our response and in our actions. In the episode, Mr. Baldoni questions the group who has been at the table has seen something and didn't say something. I mean, objectification, harassment, and then not said anything. In 2021, the Man Enough franchise added a podcast, also produced by Wayfarer Studios, the Man Enough podcast. I heard about this and I thought someone's son worked on this. The Man Enough podcast has featured enough episodes entitled Strength and Unity, Men Supporting Women in Leadership, From Misogyny Victims to Male Privilege and Modern Dating, Consent, Boundaries and Respect. Mr. Baldoni stated in his 2017 TED Talk, men are the problem. They created the glass ceiling, and if they want to be part of the solution, then words are no longer enough. By Mr. Baldoni's account, he became a feminist, fighting for gender equality, so quickly that he hadn't even realized that's what he was or was trying to do. In Mr. Baldoni's own words, his activism starts in the mirror with an audience of one. Mr. Baldoni has stated that he feels a deep responsibility to tear down the walls of power and privilege, and believes the world needs men to show up, not in big ways, but in hundreds and thousands of little ways, to create better, more equitable, just world. Over the past approximately 7 years, and as relevant to this complaint, Mr. Baldoni has made the following statements. Let's just shut up and finally listen to the women in our lives. Men are going to have to start doing now is recognizing when they made women uncomfortable and didn't realize it. I think that's when the other side of the Me Too movement is, I'm sorry. Growing up, how many times did I hear bros before hoes? How demeaning, how sexist. We built this system, the opposite of accountability, and now it's time to figure out how, as men, we can break the system, that system. And it starts with showing what a real man is. A real man is someone that says, hey man, we're still friends, but that's not cool. Imagine being sexually assaulted, finally coming forward about this traumatic thing that has happened to you and having people acting like you were to blame. It's important for us men to realize how crucial a role bystanders can play in stopping and preventing assault and harassment, how we must be a part of the movement and call for respect and equality for women, act upon that call to action, and continue to perpetuate positive behaviors among ourselves and our communities. Are you confident enough to listen to the woman in your life? And will you be man enough to stand up to other men when you hear locker room talk, when you hear stories of sexual harassment? All of us have a situation and a pattern that we need to end the cycle of. First of all, I want men to stop asking the question, why do women stay? I want men to take accountability. I want men to hold other men accountable. There's never an excuse, no matter how much trauma a man has, there is never an excuse to lay hands and hurt a woman physically or emotionally. And we have to also understand that the majority of domestic violence isn't physical. These are the scars. The scars are invisible. These are things that it's emotional, it's gaslighting. It's all the various things that so many people experience. Yeah, like the gaslighting they're doing with this campaign, right? I think we judge enough women and victims, but the real question is, why do we keep allowing men to harm? In sum, Mr. Baldoni has crafted a public image of himself as not just an ally, but also a fierce advocate for women. Contrary to this image, as set forth in detail above, Mr. Baldoni has spent the last several months and significant resources on his goal of wanting to bury and destroy Miss Lively for raising concerns about his and his CEO's harassing behaviors and other disturbing content. Right? Conduct. Sorry. While there was considerable online coverage of the film and Ms. Lively leading up to the film's nationwide release in U.S. theaters on August 9th, the coverage was mostly neutral. Some online discussions referenced an apparent feud between the cast members, but they included a smaller percentage of negative and positive mentions. Soon, however, Ms. Lively and her team became aware of an increase in negative media articles and social media coverage about her. The significant spike in the volume of negative sentiments towards Ms. Lively included noticeable spikes on approximately August 8th and the 14th and continued to trend mostly negative for the remainder. Indeed, as noted above, TAG itself noted a shift due to their efforts as early as August 10th. As of that date, the sentiment towards Ms. Lively turned toxic, with a sudden increase in negative comments, including hypersexual content and calls for Ms. Lively to go F herself. Nearly decade-old interviews of Ms. Lively were surfaced, commenting on her tone, her posture, her diction, and her language. Sound familiar? I don't know why. Ms. Lively was criticized for how she was marketing the film. She was repeatedly called a bully, a mean girl, controlling. She was criticized for allegedly marginalizing Mr. Baldoni, among other things. Articles which members of the TAG and Joneswork team working on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer created themselves with influencing dissected Ms. Lively. Dissected someone. Went back in old videos, old footage, dissecting a person. That sounds familiar. And contemplated her cancellation. Oh, yes. Sound familiar? On information and belief, the Wayfarer team seeded social media content into publications with small audiences and lax editorial standards, and then fed those posts and or articles to publications like Page Six, Newsweek, New York Post, TMZ, and BuzzFeed. These publications have large audiences and great reach, which significantly amplified the negative sentiment towards Ms. Lively. Content from low-influence sites was often linked or referenced in articles on these high-influence sites, right? Platforms. The social manipulation campaign engineered by Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer helped create and sustain a negative news cycle and social media algorithm around Ms. Lively. The online narrative continues to trend more negatively as compared to other weeks and months prior to the social manipulation campaigns, reflected in the sentiment chart dating from the publicity event on June 13th with the present. This was precisely the effect that Baldoni and Wayfarer team hoped to achieve. They manipulated the social conversation to discredit and bury Miss Lively in retaliation for reporting her concerns about harassing and unsafe conduct during the production of the film, and in hopes of deterring Miss Lively from potentially taking those same concerns public. This campaign has been devastating to Miss Lively, including by causing substantial harm to Miss Lively, her family, as well as her business and all of the people who work at each of them. Unlike Wayfarer and Mr. Baldoni, Miss Lively has been precluded from not only experiencing the success of the film, but also from having the ability to engage further with her businesses, fans, and social media followers without immediately triggering an onslaught of hateful comments. Sound familiar? Instead, Ms. Lively and her family have been forced to contend with a wide-reaching negative media campaign. When it became clear that this media blitz was the result of an intentionally seeded, cultivated, and financed campaign against her, Ms. Lively began to experience mental, physical, professional, and financial harms that continue to this day. Ms. Lively had this happen to her, and she was affected by it with all of her money, all of her influence, all of her resources, her husband's resources. So can you imagine how someone feels that doesn't have those resources, that financial backing to do what Blake Lively could do, right? That's why this is so precedent setting. The effects on Ms. Lively's professional life were immediate and substantial. Given the ongoing nature of the campaign and the associated negative public sentiment, Ms. Lively did not believe she could proceed with public appearances or events without being forced to openly discuss what happened on set. For example, Ms. Lively canceled a critical Target corporate event for her hair care company, and she backed out of her scheduled role to host the premiere episode of the 50th anniversary season of Saturday Night Live in September of 2024. The retaliation campaign against Ms. Lively has damaged her companies as well. In the long-term planned launch of her hair care line, Blake Brown, a date was set more than a year prior to the date selected not by Ms. Lively for the release of the film, was caught up in the crossfires of the negative environment against Ms. Lively. Initially, before the social manipulation campaign started, Ms. Lively was informed that Blake Brown was Target's largest hair care launch on record based on internal sales projections. The sudden and unexpected negative media campaign launched against Ms. Lively depressed retail sales of Blake Brown products by 56 to 78%. This dramatic drop was completely at odds with the high satisfaction scores that Blake Brown products received in the significant consumer testing performed before the launch or its initial success after launch. Around the same time, the social media accounts for Ms. Lively's brands, including Betty Buzz and Betty Booze, were flooded by hateful comments, which began to echo through other social media and traditional media outlets. On Information and Belief, the Astroturfing campaign was responsible for this wave of comments. None of Ms. Lively's businesses could operate as they ordinarily had before. Instead, the Baldoni Wayfarer Astroturfing campaign forced each of Ms. Lively's businesses to go dark on social media in August. Ms. Lively did the same for nearly 2 months, and during this time was unable to market or promote any of her businesses, all of which rely on her support, causing issues with many business partners and customers. Moreover, when Ms. Lively limited comments on her personal Instagram account to limit the toxic harassment she was receiving, those users simply migrated to social media accounts and websites of Blake Brown, Betty Buzz, and Betty Booze. Most of the negative comments on these businesses' social media accounts and websites had nothing to do with the products or brands, but instead referenced the film, Mr. Baldoni, and or Ms. Lively as a bully or a mean girl. The emotional impact on Ms. Lively has been extreme, not only affecting her but her family, including her husband and 4 children. There are days where she has struggled to get out of bed, and she frequently chooses not to venture outside in public. While she has fought to maintain her personal life and business interests behind closed doors, she has suffered from grief, fear, trauma, and extreme anxiety. She has also been experiencing repeated and painful physical symptoms as a result of this experience. Mr. Reynolds, too, has been affected mentally, physically, and professionally by his wife and children's pain. Wow. Worst of all, however, has been the impact on their young children, who have been traumatized and emotionally uprooted in ways that have substantially impacted their well-being. These are but a few examples of the substantial harm caused by this malicious campaign, which pervaded and continues to pervade all aspects of Ms. Lively's life. Ms. Lively never sought out conflict with the wayfarer, Ms. Baldoni, or Mr. Heath, but instead consistently attempted to speak up for a safe and respectful workplace, privately in the hopes of protecting herself as well as the cast and crew without jeopardizing a film that she believed could make a difference in people's lives. In response, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and those working for them sought to destroy Miss Lively and anyone else who knew the truth. Miss Lively's discovery of the full extent of the retaliatory campaign launched by the Wayfarer parties has left her with no choice. Through this complaint, Miss Lively seeks to set the record straight, to hold the Wayfarer parties and associates accountable, and to shine a light on this new form of retaliation so that it will not be used again against any others who seek to stand up and speak out against sexual harassment. And these are the exhibits. So this is a very precedent-setting case. It's something that can now be referenced and help others who are facing a lot of the same things. All right? So very, 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 very important. And I hope that you do see the importance of that, and that how people, even though they think they can't be held accountable and their words and actions don't matter and what they do doesn't matter, that all of those people named herein thought that too at one point, right? That they were okay. They didn't do anything. And now they're on blast. They're on blast. And those who sought to destroy someone's career and someone's livelihood it's all been uncovered, the dirty, disgusting dealings they've been doing, the lies. Yeah. It's done in the dark, comes to light. And that is great, great news. Astroturfing. Yeah, we are in subscriber mode. Why? Does he not want to subscribe? It's only 1 minute. As soon as he subscribes, he'll be able to come in. Yeah, I don't know. He can subscribe and he'll be able to come in. It's not member mode, it's just subscriber mode. I can't get this last word here. What do you say it is? Oh, curb. How did I miss that? Thank you. I don't know what I was doing. That was crazy. Did somebody become a new subscriber? Maybe he just did. Hey, scripted intelligence, how are you? Thank you for becoming a subscriber. You just finished. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk anymore. We just finished reading that 80-page document from Blake Lively. You'll probably have to go back and listen. Right now, we're just doing this word game to unwind, and hopefully, let's see. Thank you. For some reason, it did not like my new channel. It didn't like your new channel? I don't know why. But, yeah, we went over that. Oh, thank you for saying we're the coolest. Anyway, you'll have to, now that you're subscribed, you'll have to come see us. Right now, we're just in the unwind mode. But I think I'm going to go check it out. He's here. That's all I care about. Great. I'm glad. Thank you for getting your friend here. Appreciate that, you guys. Appreciate it a lot. Would not let me chat. Really? I don't know why. You know what you could do, scripted intelligence? Let me see your URL and just see if, like, somehow, I don't know, the stranger things have happened, if it's on any kind of a block list that we have. Let me see it. If you have my email, Nightbot will give you my email. You can send me your URL to that channel, and I can check it out and see what's up with that. Let me see if I can get that in there. They just have to, sorry, I just... If you email me, Nightbot should be saying it. Oh, I appreciate that, UHP. We've had a lot of stuff done to us as in this document. So it's really enlightening to see that, and I think it's amazing that someone's actually, Astroturfing, put a name to it and the crap that happens, right? Yeah, but you could send it to me, my email, and I appreciate you subscribing, and I'll take a look at your channel. I'll go subscribe to you if you have a channel there. I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much, UHP. Thank you, everybody, and I hope to see you tomorrow. God bless. Prayers. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. Stay safe, be kind, and just be a good person. And I've got to figure out where a good thing to end this is. Okay, bye, guys.